Creating a new live broadcast. Please wait. Let's get my notepad. We're just starting. Just beginning. If you're tuning in, welcome. Welcome. All right, let's pull up my stream. Gonna grab that link. Gonna pet that dog. All right. Well, Trudex says, I just felt just a month or two, you were only at 200 subs. You're growing quite a bit. I really appreciate that. I really hope I am, because I don't feel like I'm growing. It's so funny, man. Ah, there we go. Okay. Sorry, I'm just advertising my channel. We're going to get started on some Metroid. Trudek has said, what have you been up to recently? I am currently mid-transition to being able to work from home, which is huge. That is huge. It's going to increase my availability by a substantial margin. And I don't have to drive to work while at the same time getting the same amount of work done, which is, it's going to be basically 2 hours saved every single day, Monday through Friday, because of my commute is just so, is really intense. It can be really, really intense. So just having that is gigantic. Let me see here. Where was I in this game? Huh. A shame. Normally I'm able to start earlier, but unfortunately... Oh, wait. Hold on. Yeah, wait. Big W. Big W. So the W is that because I will be work from home, as soon as it hits, 5 o'clock, I'm clocked out and there I am at home. Which basically means if I am at home, right at that moment, I would be able to do earlier streams. Hey, how about that? Hello, America's Almanac just subscribed. Thank you very much for the subscription. I appreciate that. Panzer says, what time does the debate start, or is this a Metroid stream? So I will be streaming Metroid throughout the debates, and the debates start in roughly, 7 minutes. We're going to get started. And basically, I start a debate stage on the Modern Day Debate Discord. And anybody can just kind of hop in, and we can have a debate and or discussion, whatever comes up. Oh, shit. Do I have... yes, I do have the water. Give me one quick moment. I have a friend talking to me. Hold on. Panzer says, great game, so no complaints from here. You know what? One thing that I started realizing is that I feel like I am getting older and older as time goes by. Well, obviously that would be the case. But what I mean by that is people's ideas of classic games is like way out of proportion. Or maybe it's not, I guess. It's just me getting older. So let me give you an example, right? I've had people where they're just like, you should play a classic game that, that everybody loved as a kid, like Oblivion. I'm like, bruh, we need to talk. Bro, I feel like I'm older than the trees. I'm 35, right? And so like a game like this would have definitely been within like childhood. And a game like Oblivion would have been like, I'm like, I don't know, 17. So it's like I had a whole list of games that I used to play. And I don't know, like a Super Nintendo game, people are just like, all right, this is boomers. And I'm just like, how old do you think I am? Boomers are in their like 60s and 70s. What is happening? What is happening? I get called a boomer all the time because of the like games I play. Well, we're going to see a few of the debates shortly. I will also list my hot takes list. And if you're in the audience and you want to debate me yourself, you can come to the discord.gg/modern day debate, and you can raise your hand when you see the event pop up. The event has not started yet. It will start shortly. It is currently 6:26. I usually started at 6:30. I also have a friend that kind of co-hosts. Basically, all he does is that he helps out with any dead air that there is. We can have nice conversations, and he himself, we don't exactly agree fully politically between one another. He's a socialist and I am not. Though he keeps telling me, he says, that I'm closer and closer to socialism every single day. So I think he secretly wishes that I would just switch over to the socialist side, but we'll see what happens. Panzer says, yeah, classic games change depending how old the person is. But it's like it's even crazier because it's, I don't know, it just feels like why aren't you playing like a classic game like Call of Duty Modern Warfare? I'm like, oh jeez, oh god, oh no, I'm so old. Like I'm thinking like Yoshi's Island. I'm like, let's go Yoshi's Island. Love that game. But man, I just, like I even had a kid say that a classic game was Minecraft. And I'm like, oh heavens to Betsy. Goodness. How am I supposed to respond to that? Oh, I've been playing since Minecraft. How do I address that? That is bonkers. That is bonkers to me, right? This idea that it's like Minecraft is a classic game now. How long ago was it since Minecraft? I'm going to feel even older. It was probably like, I don't know, more than 10 years ago, I bet. I bet it's more than 10 years. Why wouldn't it be more than 10 years? Panzer says, in all fairness, with the Minecraft thing, a lot of kids kind of grew up on that game, myself included. Fair enough. I get it, right? And let's be honest, right? I'm gonna say this for boomers everywhere, right? For all the older gamers. Minecraft is a fabulous game. It's actually one of the most incredible games to ever come out. All right? There, I said it. It's better than Mario. Right? Like the classic Mario is better than Mario 3. Hell, I would even venture to say that is it better than Metroid? I don't know. Metroid's really good. The voxel base thing is really, it's really a huge selling point. Okay. So it's currently 6:29. I'm going to get started because normally I have to start the stage and then I have to close out of Discord and reopen. It's so weird. I swear. It's like a permissions issue on the Modern Day Debate stage. Anyway, here we go. I'm going to hit start event. Okay. Letting everybody know that's 76 people. I mean, it's not a lot of people, but hey, you got to start somewhere. Okay. Let me disconnect quietly. We're just going to disconnect quietly. And I'm going to quit Discord. Yep. And then we're going to open up Discord. I have to do it every time. I don't know why. I just have to do that every time. Anytime I open up the stage, they can never hear me. Right? And so I have to leave Discord and rejoin and then it works. It's weird. Daniel, can you hear me okay? How you doing?
Yes, now I can hear you.
Hello, my good.
Before I couldn't hear you because I wasn't here. Your mic is very hot, very oh my god, loud.
Oh, is it?
Couldn't find the word.
It's
very loud.
I guess I was really close to it.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, now it's a lot.
I also was yelling a little bit.
Yeah. So
well,
that makes sense.
My good pal.
Yes. So now it's good. Now it's fine. How are you today?
I'm doing great. How about yourself? We already got somebody who wants to speak on stage.
Yeah. He was doing that before you were even here.
That's a record. Yes, I would be more than happy to hear them out. Okay. Couple of things. What happened for the debate? There was a debate regarding trans individuals. One thing I find painfully aware regarding trans people is that people they're not really interested in any kind of fact-based argument. I find that it's very common that they hyperbolize the actual position into something that it's not. Like, for example, they'll say that, oh, you need to, kids are getting bottom surgery. Bro, where? Show me.
Yeah, I want to meet those
Doesn't
kids because I wasn't
doesn't
able to find
exist.
them
It doesn't
ever.
exist. It's
Yeah.
not medically efficacious. They don't argue that, right? The only instance of any amount of surgery regarding trans kids is mastectomies, and even after a mastectomy is basically just chest surgery. But just so you know, they've been doing chest surgery on kids forever, for a really, really long time, decades.
Cis
Right?
kids, cis
And
kids. So in my high school, right, in my class, there was a girl,
yeah,
and I know after like in 10th grade, she developed this really really big breasts, like really big.
yeah,
Okay,
like
to the point where
completely
she was,
unmanageable.
it wasn't. Yeah, I mean the thing is like it didn't give her like back pain or stuff like that necessarily, right? But she really really didn't enjoy them, right? And they were kind of messing up with her, you know, internal self image. Okay,
Yeah.
and she actually went and got on, let's say top surgery, you would call it, right? In a way, because it affected her top, right?
Yeah.
It was a breast reduction surgery. She was, I think she was 15 or 16.
Yeah.
At that time, it was around there somewhere. Okay, probably around like 16, because it was like 10th grade. So yeah, would make sense.
Yeah.
And that's it. And she was a cis girl, you know. She wasn't.
Yeah,
she wasn't
that's kind of
trans.
what I
She
mean.
wasn't
Is like,
anything. Yeah.
that's kind of what I'm talking about. Is like I want to hear the actual positions, right? But like what I find commonly is that they don't actually address the topic, right? Rather, what they do is that they just hyperbolize the topic into something that it's not and make it like, I don't know, I guess like a lot easier to address, right? Because like it's pretty intuitive that like, yeah, bottom surgery is not good for kids, right? Nobody, but that's the problem, right? That's not even on the table. Like the actual medical efficacy level is actually quite conservative in the way that they handle this, right? And I try to educate people on it, but I find people over and over just say the same, just talking point as if that it's valid. It's not valid. Anyway, so it does look like we got somebody who would like to speak. So we got Savant. It doesn't have, by the way, just so you know, Savant, it doesn't have to be on this particular topic. Just bring whatever you got at me. Savant.
Okay, so your view, you think that abortion should be restricted after 20 weeks, right?
Abortion should be restricted. I think that abortion should be considered, that the life of the child should be considered.
Okay, so I disagree with that.
Okay.
So I guess I can go first. So like after 20 weeks, like I don't think there's like a magic switch that flips.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't think you can really fully consider it a person because it doesn't pay taxes. It doesn't like contribute to society. So if you're gonna have like a social contract, like I don't think it's fair to expect the parent to like take care of the child because the child's not like doing anything for them.
Okay. Well, I mean, so I guess like my question is you want to extend it, I guess, further than 20 weeks.
Yeah. I mean, I think like if you're not gonna like go adopt the child, then I think it has to be up to the person who you're like expecting to take care of the child. Like,
so mind you, right? Like when I said that it's up for moral consideration is what I said.
Okay.
So it's not me saying,
just...
okay, it should, after 20 weeks, it ought be illegal, right? But rather it ought be up for moral consideration. Like, for example, I take the life of the mother way above the child, right? The unborn fetus. And so, however, at 20 weeks, you know, that's where you start getting into the realm of it effectively possessing its own conscious experience. And so it's situations like that where I go, okay, well, we kind of don't want to abort it because it is having a human conscious experience. That's kind of where I'm at with it. But
I disagree. I disagree that the conscious experience means it should be up for moral consideration. Like, I think if you want to be like considered a person, like you've got like, and insects have like some kind of consciousness. So like it's not paying taxes. It's not, you know, we wouldn't
conscious
give, like,
experience isn't the same as a consciousness.
Well, okay, but like to be considered like a person, like a part of society, I think you do need to have like some skin in the game.
Well, okay, I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, if I'm going to refer to a conscious experience, what
Yeah.
I'm referring to is like you're effectively responding to external sense stimuli. You can feel things, touch things, see things, hear things, right? And
Yeah, I don't think that should make it considered a person.
okay, so then what would you consider it?
So I would say like once someone's like contribute like if the parents like care about it, then okay, like it belongs to the parents, right? But
Mhm.
then if someone's like paying taxes, they can like be held like they can go to jail, they can like be
You don't pay
conscripted, they can
taxes until you're 18,
okay, but like I'm
or
presuming like in
rather,
most
until you get
cases,
a
like the
job,
parent
16. Sorry.
okay, but then it like belongs to the parent, right? Like the parent in most cases like cares about it, right? Like they're not just gonna get rid of a kid for like no reason.
Um, I'm sorry. Can you repeat that?
So yeah, so like before it pays taxes, it's more like I would say it's like an extension of the parent.
Yes.
Okay, so if it's an extension of the parent, then if the parent doesn't care about it, then it shouldn't have moral consideration.
No, because I believe that even as a fetus, there's a level of like bodily autonomy, and I believe it stems from conscious experience.
Well, I wouldn't say bodily autonomy stemming from conscious experience. Like it can't survive on its own. So
Well, no,
you
no,
can't really
because it's
say
not a
that.
matter of survive on its own. It's a matter of conscious experience.
No, I don't. I disagree that it's a matter of conscious experience because we were talking about bodily
Well, to me,
autonomy,
it
right?
is.
Well, okay, but I'm saying like scientifically, like as if you're gonna say autonomy, that means like acting on its own. So I don't think you can have like even like a newborn or something
Okay,
that's like 10 months.
let me see if I can. Okay, I think maybe my wording is incorrect for autonomy, but I'll try to clarify what I mean by autonomy, I guess. So when I think about like autonomy in general,
Yeah,
what I want is that the children, right, that the parent can't do whatever they want with the body of the child, right? Like, you know,
I
they can't
disagree
do
kind of.
what?
I disagree kind of. Like I think in most cases, like most parents aren't just like gonna get rid of it for no reason. But
No,
like,
no, no. Can like a parent like abuse their child?
well, I think like euthanization would be like an easier thing, but I don't
I'm
like I don't
saying
think they're gonna abuse it.
like can a parent abuse their child?
Abuse.
Yeah.
That's in the realm where I might say like we shouldn't encourage it.
Well, I mean, I would say absolutely not, because I believe that the child possesses their own bodily autonomy, right? Like it's kind of like, I don't know, like I notice like a lot of people who, typically Republicans. I've noticed
Exactly.
that Republicans have tend to view children in terms of like property instead of like them being their own person. And so I guess what I'm trying to establish is by saying autonomy, right? I'm referring to like they are their own person, right? A parent can't abuse like the rights of that child, right? Does that make sense?
Well, I would say like the child can only have autonomy because of the parents, right? Like, until like at some point, maybe at like age 10, they can start like
No, no.
they
The
start
government
contributing to the
will
parents.
put you in jail if you abuse your child. Right? Like if I
Well,
locked my
I don't think
if I had a child and I decided, okay, I'm going to lock my child in a closet, for 10 years of its life, I go to jail, right? I'm going to jail, right? If I get discovered.
well, I think at that age, like they contribute to society somewhat. Like they can pay like
Not at
sales
all. They
taxes.
sat there their whole life in a closet and
That's it.
contribute.
Okay, but then you're preventing the child from contributing to society by like locking it in a closet.
I,
Because at that
I
age,
guess
it
like
is
what I'm
like
trying to say is
capable
like
of
they
paying.
have their own autonomy, right? They possess
Okay,
their
but
own
if we're talking about like
rights.
after 20 weeks in the womb,
Yes.
that's not autonomy.
Okay, so that's kind of where I'm at though, is that like I have to ask myself what is it that I care about more than anything, right? Regarding like humans, like what is it about humans? And the thing that I could kind of suss out was that it had to have been conscious experience, right? Is basically what it broke down to.
Okay, but like, I disagree with this. So like in terms of social contract, right? Like, I'm motivated to like, contribute to pay taxes for other people if they're paying taxes for me. Like if they're conscious, that's not doing really anything for
Taxes
anybody else.
doesn't really, because like take for example, if there was like a hermit that's like living out in the woods just to avoid paying taxes, I would give them the same amount of bodily autonomy as like somebody who's paying taxes.
Well, okay, but that's the hermit like should be paying taxes.
That's correct.
And you can like
they still have bodily autonomy though.
Okay, but that's because they have like the capacity they can be taxed. Like if they
I guess
were,
so.
like,
I'm just saying
arrested or,
like you'd probably care about the person who's like a hermit, right? Like you would treat them as a human being, like not because they don't. Well, not really. I mean, the guy's off the grid.
Okay, but as soon as I'm like capable of doing something to the hermit, like let's say like I'm not gonna go murder the hermit because once I like know where they are, I can just like report them to the IRS and they can pay taxes.
Okay, well, what if they're like a libertarian billionaire and they like found like a loophole in the?
Okay, well, I think
I guess what I'm trying to. Huh?
I think billionaires are a drain on society.
Okay, they're not a billionaire; they're a millionaire, and they found a legal loophole to make their own like international island, and now they're their own country, right? And so like do you give them like their own bodily autonomy or?
We'll give them their own. Well, at that point, like, what can I do to them, right? Like, I think if they're opting out of society.
Well, I'm saying like if you saw them, right, you knew this about them, right, you wouldn't be like, okay, well, I can kill you, right? Like you would consider it to be morally reprehensible to kill them, right?
Well, if I saw them, that's assuming that I'm like going to their island and going and accepting the laws of their island. If they're like in the U.S. and they're like. Presumably, somehow they paid off some politician to not pay taxes. Like, okay, you're not respecting my rights. You're not like a part of the social contract.
So, okay, hold on. So, would you be okay with killing them? Like, you would have no moral consideration in that? Okay, all right. So, I guess what I'm trying to suss out is like, I think, if I'm not mistaken, you probably look to people more than just whether or not they can pay taxes as to whether or not you respect their bodily autonomy.
Taxes is one example. Like there's other ways people contribute to society. Like they have understanding of laws. So they can be like conscripted for jury duty.
Okay, so wait, that's a really good. Okay, so hold on. If somebody then didn't contribute to society, like they're just like an economic drain their whole life.
Well, that's the point. Is the fetus is an economic drain. So. I would say, like, why should it be, like, part of the social contract?
Well, I'm talking about, like, I don't know, just somebody that's, like, on welfare. They're, like...
Well, I don't think... I think most people on welfare, like, they don't stay on it forever.
No, I'm saying, like, as a hypothetical, we have a person who just, they just never do anything with their life. They just go on welfare and they just are an economic drain. I don't know, maybe they sue somebody for like millions of dollars and they made millions of dollars and that's it.
That's not really because
they're just like a drain.
They still pay taxes. They can still be conscripted. They can still be like have jury duty. So they are contributing in some sense. With, like,
they're an economic drain because like they may pay taxes, but they're taking out more than they're putting in.
Like, I don't know that you can really just measure it in those terms. Like let's say
I agree. I don't think you can measure it in those terms. That's why I'm saying that it's the conscious experience that matters, not their level of contribution in society. I think that even a person who is completely useless to the system still possesses bodily autonomy, and I think you agree with that, right? You sound like a pretty reasonable guy.
Like an insect though that has like some sensory of pain.
Well, they don't have a human conscious experience, right?
Well, not a human experience, right?
Yeah.
Like a
so I care about them
is like more intelligent than like a newborn.
A what?
We wouldn't say like the horse is like a person.
Oh, Yeah, I would agree with you. Like we wouldn't, yeah, because it's not a, okay, fair enough. So we have to caveat in my argument that, it effectively has to be a human for me to care about it.
But then that's the question is like, is why should we value the human just because it's a human? Like that's like a
Because I'm a
religious
human.
argument. But like I don't like rather than like I'm concerned with like not like with the religious superstition behind it, but like the science, right? So like scientifically, like a horse is going to be smarter than a human. It can even contribute to society more than like a newborn contributes to society.
Mm-hmm.
Like most newborns, I would say, is like they belong to the parent, so the parent can like it has value as an extension of that. But like a horse, it can like on a farm or something, like they still get used to some extent. But like a newborn, it's not really contributing much. And I just don't see, unless you're going to like say we should start looking at like religious or like objective morality and start like.
Well, I'm not doing
using
that
that-
either. I'm not doing the a religious argument. I'm merely pointing out like, okay, I'm a human. I would prefer
Yeah.
it if people would respect my bodily autonomy, right? And so I want to respect other people's bodily autonomy. And then the question is okay, well, what like really matters when it comes to like
Okay.
being human? And it's like I think it's the conscious experience. I really, really genuinely in my heart of hearts believe that. I don't think it's paying taxes. I don't think it's being, useful to society. We are humans. We take care of, our brethren, right? Even if they are, economically useless.
Well, okay, so I mean, I think we established that it's not just the conscious experience because, like, the horse we don't consider a person. But if we're gonna say like, okay, not just like conscious experience, we have to add a caveat on there. I'm gonna say like, okay, I'm a human, but I pay taxes. I go to like I can be conscripted. I can go to like jury duty. So if I extend that, if I want to be like fair about who I'm considering to be a person without like appealing to like some religious morality thing, I would say okay, so it has to be contributing to society at least some extent, like paying taxes, or like at least being
I mean, to be a
eligible
human,
for-
you just need to have the taxonomic classification of the of Homo
Okay, but
sapien
I just-
sapien, right?
I don't see
And
how
I'd
the
be satisfied with
taxonomic-
that, right?
I mean, the taxonomic classification, I have to say, like, what's the benefit to society of just valuing that taxonomic classification? Because
I mean, the only value is that like you respect other people's lives, which in turn benefit you.
well, I respect other taxpayers' lives, which in turn benefits me because I'm also paying taxes.
But I think it's beyond taxes. Like,
Okay, so I mean, as I keep saying, like, taxes is just one example of the type of. Okay, yeah, someone says that, like potential of exchanging ideas. Like a newborn isn't gonna like exchange ideas. A newborn isn't gonna like invent anything. So, I mean, or not like in its current state, it doesn't have a capacity for that. So I think like if we're not even gonna consider a horse to be like a person, then we need like a standard of like some level of contribution to society.
well, the taxonomic
Like-
classification is what makes it.
Okay, but
Well,
then
rather,
we
not
need
even
to-
it's the properties that we describe as the taxonomic classification. Is that what it is?
Okay. But I mean, with one taxonomic classification, if we're going to appeal to that, then I think one is as good as another. Like you could say, there's clearly a taxonomic difference.
Well, no,
between,
because
like,
I only have
newborn
one
and
taxonomic
adult.
classification, and that is human. We're Homo sapiens sapiens, right? We're
and
not a horse. We're not.
If we're not going to expand that classification to other species, then why should we expand it from like adult humans? I think we would agree are persons, right? And there's a taxonomic classification there, but you could say like a newborn is very, very different from an adult. So if you're gonna like limit the taxonomic classification to humans, why not limit it to humans of the age where they're contributing to society?
Well, because I'm sorry. Can you repeat the question? I'm having a very, very
so
frustrating
if
time
we're
in
choosing-
Metroid.
Okay.
Sorry.
If we're limiting, I would say, personhood, right? If we're limiting it to certain taxonomic classifications, right? You're willing to limit that to only humans, right? And I'm saying that I'm willing to limit it to humans above some age where they're going to contribute to society in some sense. Okay, and it seems like my classification is as arbitrary as your classification, except the only difference is that mine has some metric of value to society. So there's something objective there where you can say there's a benefit to this classification. I mean, also at a certain point, you were talking about like a drain on society. I mean, regardless of how you feel, like if you intuitively want to like give rights to somebody, but like I think there's just too many humans on the planet. Like at some point, like the foster care system's like overwhelmed. You have a lot of kids are just gonna get like shot in school or like because they're not vaccinated or something. And I would say like quality over quantity.
Um, I mean, that seems kind of weird. You're like saying there's too many people, and I mean, like I agree with you. There are too many people, but I don't think my reasoning for like abortion really takes that into account, right? Like I don't look at, I don't know. There's too many people, so we should kill more people. Like, just seems kind
I
of
wouldn't
weird.
consider it a person if it's not like contributing.
Well, I think it's a person, right? Like taxonomically speaking, it is a person.
Well, I mean,
But
I don't think you can
the question
taxonomically.
is not whether or not it's a person, but what is the moral consideration, right? And so like
No, I agree.
I
It doesn't matter like whether it's a person. Like if it's like a person, a horse, or whatever. The question I'm gonna ask is like, is it useful to society? Like, is there a reason to like care? I mean, we agree. So like, if it doesn't matter if it's a person, right? So it
well,
doesn't matter if it's
horses
like
are useful to society, are they not?
yeah. No, I agree. That's why we keep some horses alive, right? But then like if
Well,
there's
we
like
kind
a
of just
surplus
I
of
mean like
horses,
here's the thing, right? Like if it's like even slightly useless, we just kind of kill it, right? Do you think that like if that we could do that with humans?
do we kill any horse that's slightly useless? I
Yeah.
don't. I mean, we. No, I mean,
Yeah, we do it all
you
the
would
time.
use
We do it when they can't run anymore, like they break one of their
no,
ankles, we
that's
just
not
shoot them.
slightly used. That's like very useless. Like if they can't
Well, I mean,
do anything.
okay, so then we just get rid of like useless people. Why not, right?
That's kind of like I would say do it early, right? Like when it's still like a newborn or still
Why?
like
Wait, why do it early?
like okay, well because then you're not spending as many resources on them.
Okay, but like they were useful and then they stopped being useful. So can we just like kill the human?
I mean, at a certain point, I think like if they have like passive income, which most people have like a 401k, and that's still like contributing to taxes.
No, they're not. They would be sucking from taxes. So, I mean, if they're useless, right? Why not get rid of them?
Maybe I would say I'm maybe like on the fence about that. I think you have to be more
Dude,
specific about, like,
you shouldn't be on the fence on this.
Well, I'm just saying, like clearly we agree that we're not like basing this on like some religious thing of like, oh, children are the future or something. Like, it's not like they have like a soul. Like, I think you just have to be like objective about like who are you including in the social contract. Like, if they're not benefiting, like okay, like maybe if you said they used to be useful, right? So
Yeah.
then that meant they did pay taxes or they did do something.
Yeah.
So okay, I could see like exchanging something for that. But
Well, but
like,
I guess
you're
my
talking about
problem
anyone
is
that's never
my
paid taxes.
I guess my concern is that that the way that you're probably valuing humans, I think, is likely different, right? I can't imagine you would want to just kill people that are useless, right? Obviously, like that would
I
probably
don't-
be not acceptable.
Like I would like a corpse or something like that's useless. So we just we
Well, I
burn
mean, like
corpses,
a person who's say like is like a quadriplegic, right, and is just like sucking money from
Quadriplegic.
the state would be effectively
but, like,
be
what were they before
useless,
they
right?
became, like, a
All
quadriplegic?
intents and purposes. But I wouldn't want to kill that person, right? Because like what is it? What is it about them that they get? Well, I believe that they possess a conscious experience and they will continue to have a conscious
And they pay
experience in the
taxes.
future as they did before. And so I bestow upon them the inalienable rights bestowed by human reason. There you go.
Well, I think your
I did it without
example- I think
religion.
your example supports my point, right? Because like quadriplegics, they can still work like a desk job. They can still pay taxes. They can
No.
still have jury duty,
No.
and they can't have jury duty.
Let me think about that. If they can talk, they can probably have jury duty.
Okay. Yeah, if they can talk, right? So And even people who are like locked in, they can like write books. They can do that, but like a newborn's not gonna write a book.
Well, quadriplegic is
What
not.
about a mute quadriplegic?
A mute quadriplegic. Well, they can communicate in some sense. Like,
Daniel, hush.
You could start like chopping away senses. If your example is going to be like a person who literally can't do anything and can't like once you take away their capacity to work,
There's a chance, right?
Like you just described like a corpse.
Oh,
Also, like 1-year-olds, I can tell you from personal experience, having had 2 of those in the past, because now they're not 1-year-old anymore. They're pretty fucking useless. And not only are they useless, they're literally a drain on the finances
that's why I
of
say
the
that
parents
the 1-year-old is an
and on
extension
society.
of like the parent.
Yeah, but you can say the same thing about like a fetus, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's an extension of the parent, like a fetus. So yeah,
So
that's what I'm saying. Like,
the reason we're not killing the 1-year-old is for moral reasons, right?
well, no, it's because the parent values it, and so
Yeah,
I would
it's
say,
a
like, I
moral
would
reason. Like
So wait, but if the parent
morals
didn't
of the
value,
parent.
hold on, wait, if the parent didn't value a 1-year-old, sorry, I'm gonna Daniel after.
Yeah, no worries.
I don't want to tag team you, Savant, so I apologize. So if the parent didn't value the 1-year-old, like by your metric, right, you could just like kill them.
Well, I mean, if you could find like a 1-year-old that like pays taxes, could like have jury duty or something, but I don't think you're gonna find that.
Well, I know
mean,
you're not going to find that. So like,
yeah. So
by your
I'm saying,
very
like,
metric,
I wouldn't.
by
well,
your
you
metric,
say a
you would.
1-year-old. I wouldn't like consider it like a
light just fell.
1-year-old
Give me a sec.
person. I would consider it like a 1-year-old Homo sapien. But I don't know that I would extend person.
Wait, so do you value them?
I mean, I don't, but like I presume if the parents do, then I do. But like in the
Well, I'm
cases
saying the
where they
parent
wouldn't.
doesn't value them, right? But like me
Yeah.
personally, like if I saw like an adult, like kill a 1-year-old because they didn't value them, I'd be like, okay, you're a murderer, you're a monster.
Okay, but
Right,
if,
we have
if
to-
the-
we have
if
to- we have to
if
put
the
you in a
adult is
box.
the parent who's saying they don't value them. Like
Huh?
I think this was like this was well accepted before like if you see like the origin in like the Roman Empire and stuff. Like they well accepted that like if the 1-year-old wasn't like contributing to society.
Oh, the
it's not
Roman Empire
considered a
had
person yet.
slaves. Why would I want to use the Roman Empire as an example?
No, because I think this is an example of like religious morality coming in and dictating it. Because that was like when the religious people came in and they're like, okay, like infanticide you shouldn't do, even though there wasn't like a clear benefit to society.
But
I strongly believe infanticide was frowned upon way before Christianity, for example.
Well, it was by like
Yeah, I mean,
a
like,
small
I can't-
minority. It was like still widely practiced.
I don't think it was wildly
that's very
practiced.
that's very strange to me. Like to me, it's
Even-
like
even the-
infanticide is completely unacceptable from multiple cultures, right? Like
Yeah.
I don't care what the Romans did, right? I think I can die on the hill in saying that infanticide is terrible and shouldn't happen.
Well, the infants would also die on the hill, but that's the point. Like, I think that if we're gonna like extend the let's say like where we agree on like abortion, we're like okay, it's not a person or it's not contributing to society. It's not like it's still dependent in the same way that like a fetus is dependent or like the first like 20
Okay.
weeks or something. I don't think it like suddenly becomes like less of a burden. Like at a certain point, I think you're saying you're like punishing the parents by saying they have to raise the child just because they had it.
No,
And
I'm
I'm
saying,
saying, like, no, I
that
think-
like I want to live in a society where people aren't killing their children, right?
Okay, well, I don't think it's like up to us. Like I think some people would say, oh, I
What?
want to
Yeah,
live in
it
a
is.
society
What do you
where, like,
mean?
abortion is banned. But
Well, no. So when it
I
comes to
mean-
abortion, right, I'm able to. This is kind of where my cutoff point is that like what I consider to be important is whether or not that that it had a conscious experience before, just as it would in the future, right? And
Well, I think
the
this
way
is
that
kinda
I've been
going
able
in a
to
circle. You've already
determine
agreed that
exactly
conscious
20
experience
years has
alone-
been, or I'm sorry, 20 weeks. Sorry, not 20 years. The reason why I determined that it was 20 weeks is because that is approximately the point where the spinal cord is fully connected with the brain stem. This basically allows the child's like body movements to coordinate with its brain, effectively having a conscious experience, right? Not remembering things, mind you, right? It's just consciously aware, experiencing things.
Yeah, but the conscious experience is like entirely dependent still on the parent, like supporting it bodily, like
Yes.
even though it's more like a beneficiary of a conscious experience. I
No,
would say,
no, it
does it have the
itself is
right to
having a
have that
conscious experience, right? It like if you've noticed, like if you like play peekaboo with a baby, the baby will like react, right? It's having external sense stimuli that, and it's being stimulated from its from its surroundings.
Yeah, but you could still say the same, like all these things about like a horse or about like
Yeah, but those
what
aren't
we're
humans,
disputing
right? We're
here
talking about
is
humans,
whether.
not horses.
But that's the point. Is I don't think that what we're disputing is the classification of humans, like taxonomically, right? So we agree taxonomical classifications of humans is not enough because a really like an embryo is a human, but not a person. We agree that consciousness is not enough because a horse is like conscious, but still not a
Well,
person.
we don't care
So I
about it
think the
because it
only thing.
doesn't. It's not having a human conscious experience, right? It's not a human.
Okay,
I don't
but
care about the
human.
horse. I care about the humans.
Okay, but you're conflating two things, which is human conscious experience. On their own, I think we agree that not all conscious things are persons, and not all humans are persons. So I don't, we could just arbitrarily combine those, but I think it's much more consistent. I think we should apply Occam's razor and just go for the simplest explanation, which is like the point of a social contract and value is what it's contributing to society, which is why I use the principle of like taxation or jury duty or other duties that people have to society. Like right before we like formed a society and expected everyone to contribute, we had like
I think like I could
we're the
have like,
tribes killing.
say for example, I could probably have a Republican if they believed in what you said. They would be able to justify all sorts of horrible stuff.
Okay, well I'm at. I don't think like a Republican is gonna care about like what's logically consistent. So just
That's
saying like a
fair.
Republican can look, just
But
saying a Republican can
do you
look at something.
understand, right? Like that they would be like, well, these people, they're socially degenerate. They don't actually contribute to society, so we should kill them, right? Like that would be
I think the
like
Republican's gonna say that anyway, no matter what kind of
that
argument I make.
that's kind of true. But I'm saying that like you're kind of landing in the same boat, and I'm just like, okay, well, I kind of don't want to live in that kind of society. I wish people would, even if I was, useless, economically speaking, or like I don't like contribute. Like if I decided to be a hermit, that's up to me to make that decision. And I think people should value that decision, right? Like they shouldn't have to like disrespect me or my body just because I decided to be a hermit.
Okay, let's. Well, I guess we can sort of like that's kind of like the slippery slope argument of what can apply. I think you can kind of apply that to like anything. I mean, you're gonna have like whatever small amount of like on the left pro-life people are gonna say, okay, if you allow abortion, then it's gonna like allow people to like dehumanize or whatever. I mean, let's like ignoring the slippery slope for a second. Let's also like let's take the child. I'll call it a child just for the sake of argument. Let's take it out of the equation. And let's talk about like everybody else. Like, what are you expect when you say there's like some moral value you're attributing to this being? I guess. Are you expecting of everyone else? Like, is it fair to expect, like a woman who's pregnant at like 21 weeks or 23 weeks to take into consideration what's like effectively a parasite?
Mm-hmm.
Like just ignoring the conscious experience. I don't think it's fair to say you ought
Well,
to
I
take
think
this
that
into account
the
because it's
baby
just
should be up for moral consideration, right? So basically, unless if you have an instance where, like, the mother's life is in danger, or I don't know, maybe a certain moral consideration, then I would basically want to prefer the life of the baby at 21 weeks, and this is actually a very small window because it's actually anywhere between from 20 to 25 weeks where this window would exist, and then at 25 weeks the abortion is a cesarean section. That's the abortion, right? Because it's literally viable outside of the womb. So
well,
like if you
one
waited
form of
that
abortion.
long, like I'm sorry, I feel like I'm being very, very charitable in my interpretation regarding abortion, in that this addresses 99.9999% of cases, right, where people aren't going to be wanting an abortion between 21 weeks to 25 weeks.
Well, when you say that abortion is a cesarean section, that's because like legally it has to be, right? Like if you just like physically allow,
No, I'm
you
saying
could
like
do the
it's
kind where you,
viable,
like
right? Like why are we killing the child at 25
Because
weeks, it's viable.
You're ending the pregnancy, but you're not ending like the amount of money that's going to have to be spent.
But
You're not
adopt
ending
it.
all
Adopt
the...
it. Just send it for adoption.
Okay, but I mean, like, are you going to go adopt the child? Like, I think...
Am I going to go
Like,
adopt the
yeah,
child? No.
Exactly, that's the point. And just like that's the point, is somebody's gonna like know that they have like a biological child out there. I don't know that it's just like the adoption thing. Like we have the foster care system is like very underfunded already. We've already got,
Hold
like,
on,
a
hold
ton
on.
of
So
kids
what
in
I'm
the foster-
arguing, right, would not increase the foster care system at all.
Okay. But you're assuming that every child is going to be adopted when that's not like the case
I mean,
for every
so
category.
you're aware, right?
Like,
We already have the policy of we've taken a step backward. We've made things worse by saying, okay, well, we in certain states women don't have as much rights. You know, and what I'm saying is, hey, that needs to be codified. We need to put that back. And now that it is codified that women have their rights, now we have it at between the 20 week to 25 week to be worried about. But that's not even close to even a fraction of a percent of people that would actually get an abortion even at that point. Right. And even then, I say between the 21 to 25 weeks is the child is up for moral consideration. Right. So like under certain contexts, you could still have the abortion.
I mean, I think the moral consideration thing is kind of a zero-sum game. Like it's like a pregnancy is like a war between like the mother and the fetus. So like if you're saying like the fetus has more moral consideration, its interests are like diametrically opposed to the woman. So if you're saying that the fetus has more moral consideration, you have to be saying that the woman is having less. And I'm not willing to accept that. Like I'm not willing to accept that women should only have rights when they're pregnant. I think that's you gotta like look at like what's the contribution to society. Like a cesarean section, you can still do. There's like it's still inside the body of the woman. So if she wants to take it out like one piece at a time, like you go, girl. Like
well,
I'm not gonna,
I mean,
like,
I don't have a. I mean, I suppose we would have to agree to disagree there, but I guess that would leave it for me. I don't know, Daniel. Do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really understand this his whole argument. I think it's a bit weird. Not necessarily that I don't agree with the fact that abortion should be available at all times, right? I think abortion should be available to pregnant women because at the end of the day, it is their body. And I think that's the argument that I hinge my pro-abortion stance on. Sorry?
But not just to pregnant women is what I'm saying.
Like yeah, obviously, it's of course, obviously, but that's an argument that obviously extends to pregnant women, right? It's not that being pregnant doesn't remove your
even after they're pregnant and they have
your bodily autonomy. Yes, of course. That's why I'm saying. But it's like your argument is kind of weird. I mean, just because they don't pay taxes, I don't think that's a great argument at all. I mean, there's a lot of people in society that don't pay taxes. It doesn't mean we should just get rid of them.
We could still like conscript them or use them for jury duty. That's, I mean,
I but again, it's like that's not your point, though.
I mean, I think I kind of understand your position. Like, I don't think it's totally consistent, but I like understand kind of what you believe, and I think we're kind of going in circles here. So I could just like let the next person go if there's somebody else who wants to make an argument or something.
All right, yeah, I appreciate the discussion. That was a good discussion.
All right, thank you.
Have a good day. Now, what was that? Let's see. It's 5350. Okay.
Abortion debate.
Abortion debate.
This is the type of abortion debate where both parties actually agree with abortion.
That is, that's actually kind of interesting. I was expecting, right, him to just be tacitly anti-abortion, but we actually he was more heavy in the abortion than I was. And I feel like I'm pretty up there when it comes to like accepting abortion, right? Anyway.
Yeah, it was kind of like, you want 60% abortion? I want 200% abortion.
I mean, who
Honestly,
knows?
joking, you know. You know.
He sounded like a nice guy anyway, at least.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
For the most
I
part.
mean, yeah, it's like I don't think his argument actually is like very productive, so to speak, at all.
Well, okay.
And
Well,
you
I
know,
don't want to talk
think it
about them
can be
too much while
applied. Yeah,
they're down on the
that is
stage.
true. That is true.
So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna move on. Let's see here. We have Classy Neurotic, who is joining the
Hey,
stage.
how's it going? Hi.
How you doing, Classy? Long time
I'm
no
doing
talk.
good. Yeah, long time no talk. It's great to see you streaming and everything. I'm
appreciate
not
it.
actually here to debate. I actually just want to have a discussion with you about debating tactics.
Okay, cool.
And
Heck yeah,
just
I'm
like
into it.
yes. So I don't know if you saw my debate with like Andrew Wilson and Josh Cedar that happened like this weekend.
I didn't watch the whole thing.
Um,
I watched some of it. Let me just be honest with you. It actually had nothing to do with you, by the way. I hate Andrew Wilson so much
Okay.
that I didn't want to watch him
fair.
anymore. Like I was like, I don't want to watch this guy. Like this guy sucks. But
I think out of all the people I've spoken to, I think like Rob Noor and Andrew Wilson are like tied like the most frustrating people to talk to.
that was another thing, right? Like Rob Noor, right? He showed up wearing like basically like wearing like cross-dressing. He was fully cross-dressing. Do you know about this whole thing?
Josh Cedar? Or you mean Josh Cedar?
Yes, Josh
Crap.
Cedar. Sorry, not yeah. You're right. Yes.
Yeah. So like, so Josh Cedar, he's a grifter. Basically, his entire thing is that he used to be in the Bachelorette, and then like he left or whatever, tried to do his own thing, and then after a bunch of like failed like attempts to become a social media star, a couple months ago he came out as trans, but it was just like he was just pretending to be trans, and he was just trying to say like, oh look, anyone could be trans. I can just put on lipstick and a dress, and like, haha, look at me, I'm so funny, Steven Crowder, whatever. Like, it's dumb.
Yeah, no, but so here's the crazy part, right? The crazy part is that this dude started it as like a gag that he said he was like only going to do for like a month or two, right? Just to like do the joke. Tech VR just subscribed. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. The after it was all over, right? He basically continued doing it. Right?
Yeah.
Even knowing that it was like, okay, there's no more to this. This is it. This is, and so I'm just going to tell you, I think they're trans. Wait, what just happened? Hold on. I just lost. What just happened? There's like a big red exclamation point over. What the heck? Hold on. What the hell just happened? Daniel, what the heck happened? What was that?
Okay, I think it was a Discord.
Discord just
thing.
taking a crap on
I
a
think
Thursday evening.
Discord just
Sorry.
crashed.
All right.
Totally
We're going to try.
crashed.
So basically what I was trying to say is that there was a discussion, or I'm sorry, he was supposed to effectively have stopped his thing.
Yeah.
And then he just kept doing it. So here's
And
the
it
thing,
gets
right? Here's my
worse.
hypothesis, right? I think he's actually trans, right? But he's so neck deep in the Republican loophole that he can't just come out.
Well, the
So
thing
he just
is, I think
pretends he's
Andrew
grifting.
Andrew Wilson was actually pretty frustrated with him. Like, he thought he really didn't really. You can tell from his facial expressions he didn't care for it. He was like kind of uncomfortable with him doing that. But it's like with like the whole like homophobic pastors, like, and then they get caught like sleeping with
Yes.
like, male prostitutes. and
Yes,
stuff like that.
exactly. I legitimately believe this guy's just trans. Like I heart of hearts, I'm just going to tell you that guy, the grift was over months ago and he kept dressing in drag. And he's just like, "Hi everybody, I'm actually trans." And I'm like, I don't think you're just doing it for the gag anymore, bro. Let's just be honest, Queen. You're trans.
Yeah, that's a really good excuse for him to actually be trans and pretend like, oh no, I'm not trans. I'm just joking, guys. Of course, it's just a joke. Haha.
All right. So
But
anyway,
yeah, actually, he is trans.
Classy, you wanted to talk about the debate tactics. So hit me up.
Yeah, so I'm still relatively new to debates and that sort of thing. So I don't have like that much experience, but I think I did decently considering, like I said, I'm still relatively new to this. I want to know, how do you handle these sort of like unexpected questions where your opponent will like bring up something that's like kind of like meant to kind of throw you off. So like maybe I don't know, like so I was just gonna say like, oh well, what about this like really obscure thing or whatever? Like how do you sort of like deal with that? Because I kind of have issues with it, or I don't know.
All right. You're going to hate my answer. You're going to hate it, right? But I think it's the move, right? And other people do it. And I'm just going to tell you, I'm just going to say, just be honest with yourself. Use ChatGPT.
Okay.
Just use it, right? Listen, I know everybody's like, oh, you're using ChatGPT, right? If I can help it, right, I'd rather read a book and be able to like recite it off of the book I read, right? And then I can reference the book later, or I can, reference the studies that the book has, right? But again, we're not robots. We're not intended to be able to memorize every single thing that somebody throws at us. But I guarantee you, every single one of these debate people, they've got ChatGPT up. It's way too useful of a tool. Way too useful.
Yeah, Rob Noor was caught using ChatGPT with his debate with Destiny.
Yeah. So, okay, I don't think there's anything wrong with using chat. Like, obviously, like, it's not the avatar of facts, but I think it certainly helps, right? Because, like, if somebody, like, kind of blindsides you with a crazy, comment, you can at least, like, be like, what the hell are they talking about, right? And you could just quickly chat GPT, okay, is what they're saying BS? Is it? Because it's pretty good at telling you, hey, this was disproven, XYZ, so you can rattle that off, right? Now, obviously, don't read out loud exactly what ChatGPT says, for goodness sakes.
Yeah.
You should say it in your own terms, right? I think it's better that way.
Okay. And when you do like your sort of debate prep and you know who you're going to debate, do you typically like research their arguments beforehand? Like maybe
Yes.
look up how they've done in the previous debate and see
Yes.
like how they argue, what are their arguments, that sort of thing.
Typically, yes. Sometimes I've had situations where no. I've had, for example, the Andrew Wilson one that I had. No, not, I'm sorry. Wait, what was his name? Was it? Sorry. No, not Andrew. Brandon Martinez. These people, they start blending together. I had with Brandon Martinez, there was very little content for me to go off of, right? But it was clear to me that he was just, he was a race realist, a racist. And I mean, I didn't really like look at a lot of his content after that. I was just like, I think the facts are kind of on my side here. That might be a detriment, right? Because it's like, it's probably better to do like a crap ton of homework than it is to not do so. Have you ever heard of a Nardwuar by any chance?
No, I don't. I'm not sure. No.
Okay. So there was this guy, that does interviews, not debates, but interviews, for people. And he has a very peculiar way of doing his interviews. So let me try to explain exactly what he does for his interviews. When he first started doing his interviews, he was incredibly nervous of doing interviews. So what happened was, in order to kind of get past his incredible nervousness, he would research as much as he physically can on his interviewee. Like, I mean, he would like get to the point of like contacting his mother, like the interviewee's mother, and like getting information off of their mother and close friends and family in order to like be prepared for the interview, right? So when they showed up for the interview, he would have like scary facts that nobody would know, right? And so like he would actually throw them off with how effective of it, like, or how much that guy actually knew. Now, I'm not saying that it basically got people to the point where they just got, that they were freaked out by the interviewer because he was just too prepared, right? You should look up his interview style. He classically comes in smelling terrible, and he sounds very nerdy, and he'll ask you questions very specific to like, oh, your friend Joshua back in 3rd grade. Do you remember that where he like picked on you for like, and then you're like, how do you know that? I'm not saying be at that level, but it's very interesting, right? Where it's like, I come into a debate completely unprepared, and like the maximum is like, you know everything about that person. I don't know, maybe something in between. Kind of interesting, I suppose.
Okay. So here's what I did. I watched most of your debate with Andrew Wilson as preparation for my debate with him, and actually brought up that he mentioned that trans women are basically just gay dudes who like to dress up as women, and that they have autogynephilia, and that's the name of the disorder. Autogynephilia is when a man dresses up as a woman because they're like sexually aroused by it.
Mm-hmm.
I bring it up, and then he basically denies that he's ever said that. And it's pretty clear that like he got nervous and that he knew that I was going to be able to like very easily rebuke his argument. So he basically I don't know if there's a term for it though, if it backpedaled or basically just denied that he ever like made that argument, and then just complained that like I wasn't like answering the prompt or whatever.
Yeah. No. So I remember the part where you brought me up in the debate, and he was like, this isn't a debate between me and 1stAmender. This is a debate you and me. Which, I mean, fair enough. Like, I get, but I mean, you got to be honest, right? This person's never going to operate in good faith. Right?
Correct,
like,
yeah.
So ultimately what needs to happen is, and this is where I screwed up, is I was way too polite to this guy, right? I should have immediately gone for the throat, right? Rather than just like be really nice, super friendly, and hoping that like my rhetoric would have been better than his because he's just so flagrant, right? So disrespectful, right? Because people seem to eat up how disrespectful he was, as opposed to me being uber polite with him, right? So I don't know. I don't necessarily think that like politeness gets you anywhere, right? I think you just like people like that. You just got to go for the throat. Like just immediately start being super disingenuous, because like they're not going to play nice with you, right? They're not there to debate or learn anything.
Well, I was actually kind of surprised. You did actually frustrate him a couple of times. I think the first time was the whole like calling women bitches or whatever, and he was like, "I did not call women bitches."
Really? I don't recall that.
Yeah, like he was like saying that like, "Oh, is bitch like a taxonomical classification for, female dog or something?" And it's like, "Oh, you can call like a woman a bitch or something like that." And then you're like, "Oh, well, why are you calling like women bitches?" And then he yelled at it, like, "Oh, I did not call women bitches."
That's funny.
I just thought that was funny.
I don't know. So I think what I want to do, if I ever debate him again, definitely going to be a lot more aggressive next time. And, it actually showed, right? Because I was debating, Brandon Martinez, which, I mean, to be fair, right? He's a lot more soft spoken than Andrew Wilson. And I think like my aggressiveness, it came off better, right? Because I was being very flagrant about it. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's not the way to go because I'm a very tiny debater. Who knows? Let's see what happens, right? Let's just keep developing our styles until we get like something that works, I think.
Yeah, that's definitely like how like I'm gonna like take it, and I think it just depends like who you're debating. Like I don't know, if it's just like a random like show like this where it's like just kind of like chill, whatever, you're just talking to like random people, it's fine. But like if it's like one of these big like well-known debaters, what you have to be aggressive, you have to be an asshole for sure.
And I hate to say that, right? Like I don't want that to be the case, but let's be honest. Let's be honest with ourselves, right? These people didn't get big by being mousy and nice to people. Like, where have you seen that?
It just doesn't exist in the cybersphere.
Anyway, Did you have anything else for me?
I think that's it for now. If anyone else wants to speak, if not, I'll just join the audience for a bit. And yeah.
Good talk, Classy. I'm really glad that we could have the discussion.
Sure thing. Thank you, and I appreciate the advice.
Yeah, no problem. Oh, trust me. If you think that trust me, you're giving me advice just as much as I'm giving you advice, right? We're kind of going in this like these little like nobody subscribers going up against people with like 100K plus subscribers, and we're like, I don't know, supposed to do a good job after like. Oh, by the way, are you getting a hate mob? Did you get a hate mob?
Unfortunately, no.
No freaking way. I got a hate mob, bro. People were after me for days. I was like, what? It was like for at least minimum a week. Like just people showing up to my channel like, oh, you lost a debate. Like just people just being assholes. Like I
kind of wish I got something like that, but like no, unfortunately no. I guess maybe I just wasn't made enough of an impression that they felt that they had to go to me. But whatever, that's fine.
Yeah. All right. Well, good talk.
Sure.
All right. Let me get my time correct here. 1:10:56. Okay.
Debate tactics. Actually, there are some people that are pretty good, and I think like there's a lot of people that know exactly what they should be doing in order to debate, and their tactics is just to be dishonest, like Andrew Wilson.
I gotta get somebody who's like, they're already like a god at debating, right? And like just have them just review what I do, right? Like,
can I recommend you something?
Sure. What you got?
You know, it's like there's a book from Mehdi Hassan. And it's called, I think, How to Win Every Debate or something like that. And it's actually pretty damn good.
Is it?
Sorry?
From Hassan?
Mehdi Hassan, yes.
We're talking
Mehdi
about
Hassan.
Okay, so it's not Hassan Piker.
No. Mehdi Hassan is like a journalist.
Yeah. I don't know if that's their real name. I'm sorry.
No, that's his name. That's like the...
Yeah, Classy just said get Destiny to review your debates. Like Destiny would be good. I think like what was Matt Dillahunty. I would love to get Matt Dillahunty to review my stuff. Like, can you just like just like go at like be critical of my stuff and like try to see like, okay, what can I do better? What can I do to improve? Like, I don't know. It's probably a mix of probably just how I should be like dealing with myself in terms of like YouTube videos, and as well how to debate better, I guess. I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, look, it's something that you develop in time.
Yeah.
It's hard to, maybe some people have like this innate understanding on what they should be doing when debating. But
well, I mean, these people, they've been doing it for years. They learn how to do it.
I mean, you said Matt Dillahunty. I mean, he's been doing it for like
a really long time.
Yeah.
Matt Dillahunty
and even he sometimes
by
gets
Andrew
flustered.
Wilson. No, man, Andrew Wilson came in and started immediately personally attacking him, and Matt wasn't going to have any of it. Right? And fair enough. I don't blame him. He went after his boyfriend for goodness sake. It's completely inappropriate. And I think most of the crowd sided with Matt Dillahunty there, right? The fact that he decided, okay, I'm going to walk away, it was a much more mature move than not doing so. Looks like we do got a couple of people that want to speak, so I'm going to see if I can get each person. We're going to get. So here's the thing, Max. I just had America's Almanac that would like to speak, so I think I'm going to go do a Mac. But keep those hands up so I know who wants to speak. All right, hold on. Give me 1 second. Max Almanac, you are being invited to speak. How are you doing today?
Hey, good. How are you? Can you hear me?
Yeah, what's going on?
Hey, so I know that you started off with an abortion debate, but that was what I was planning on talking about, if you don't mind.
Sure. What do you want to?
Yeah. Well, this time you actually have to defend your actual position or be pro-choice because I'm pro-life. So.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So no. I saw one of the debates you had done a couple of weeks ago. I don't remember the person you were debating, but essentially your argument was you kept hammering down on why should a politician who lives 100 to 1,000 miles away be permitted to force a woman to undergo something that's potentially life-threatening?
Mhm.
Is that straw or is that Steelman correctly?
Dead on.
Okay. Yeah. So I just have kind of a thought experiment for that, or kind of a hypothetical, because I'm not sure that you actually believe that.
Okay.
Because, and the reason I think this is, do you remember a couple of years ago that there was is this like TOS if I talk about like school shootings and things like that, or
You can talk about
I don't
a
want to
school
ban your
shooting.
channel.
No, you're good.
Okay, yeah.
You know.
You remember in Uvalde, Texas, the school shooting, everyone got extremely upset because the officers were negligent. They didn't go inside. And and even Merrick Garland, the DOJ, said had they gone in, then less kids would have died, right? So my point here would be, do you believe that there should in fact be any ramifications for the negligence on the part of whether it's individual officers or at the very least the department itself?
Good question. Off the top of my head, I don't know. It's kind of a moral gray area for me. Mostly because like I like to think about like, okay, well, in the moments of police officers, right? Even good police officers have to make very quick, very rash decisions based on very limited information, right? And
Right.
I think like if we lived in a system where like we jailed an officer for not making the right decision, you know, even good officers could actually lead to detrimental outcomes. So that's one thing to consider.
Okay.
And then like on the other, maybe there is like a level of negligence that can be, you know, attributed. And I would imagine that would be why police officers can go to jail for negligence of their duties.
Yeah, and that would be a legal standard. Like it would have to be proven in a court of law that it was
Okay,
negligence,
I'm sorry.
not
It's
just, you know.
I guess I'm not referring to like necessarily the legal. I'm referring to just like the overall moral, right? I agree with the legal distinction of like negligence and at what level that it seems to matter, because I think it's quite effective.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but even that though would still apply to other situations where I think you may in fact support legal ramifications. Where, like, for example, if like take the school shooting aspect out of it entirely, or the law enforcement aspect out of it entirely, if there was somebody who was being tortured in a basement, let's say for like a week or whatever, and then somebody killed them, and there were like 3 people that didn't do any of the torturing, didn't do the murder themselves, but they stood by the whole time, that would be negligence, correct? Or at the very least they would be accomplices, right?
Well, no, not necessarily.
If I can interject, there is no law in the law. You don't have a duty to intervene, like in situations.
Okay. Do you think though that even if they don't now, do you think cops should have a duty to intervene?
Well, in some aspects, yes, and others, no. I know that doesn't seem like a very satisfying answer, because like usually people they're expecting things to work within definitives. And I guess like my concern is that you're talking about a complex situation where based on a series of metrics can radically change the outcome of something. And so it would have to be a case-by-case basis, unfortunately.
Okay. But even by saying case-by-case, you're admitting that it could be possible to get someone on negligence for something like that?
Sure.
Okay. So, I mean, I was just trying to apply this logic to your scenario because I sort of view abortion in a similar way, which is that when a woman, and this, by the way, this would apply only to like consensual pregnancy. Like, let's just say I grant all exceptions up front. and if we just focus on consensual or let's say elective abortions, right? Like this would, in my view, apply to this logic, where any time that you have consensual sex, you are, and you'll probably disagree, but in my view, you're consenting to, at the very least, the possibility of pregnancy. Even when you use contraception, it's not fallible, or I'm sorry, it's not infallible.
Yeah.
And so I would say any time you have consensual sex, you are consenting to that responsibility from my worldview. Would you agree or disagree with that?
No.
Okay, why not?
Because I don't believe in using children as a form of retribution against negligent people.
Well, it's not retribution. Like I think that's actually the immoral position, would be to view children as some sort of a negative consequence, when in fact children would, from my worldview, would be a miracle, right?
So hold on. So then, if you said that if it's not a punishment, but yet you think that people should have to have children if they have sex, that would be retribution via child.
Well, I just think we're disagreeing on maybe the tenor of the word retribution. Like, I don't see it as a negative. Now, it could cause negative circumstances, like obviously children are expensive, obviously time consuming, and for women, of course, that's going to impact their career, whatever, or education and things like that. But I guess wouldn't it come down to wouldn't it be a good for society to have some sense of accountability for these things, and that if you're going to be promiscuous, that you can't just like off your own offspring whenever you feel like it, because you want to have your own fun?
Well, most people, that's not the case.
You don't think most abortions are elective?
No, I'm saying I don't think that most abortions are like you're getting an abortion because you're just having so much sex and you ended up having a child, right? A lot of the times it's like you're just not ready.
Yeah, but that would still extend to.
But even then, I still wouldn't even argue with it, because it's like, I'm sorry, it's effectively retribution via child, and I just disagree using humans in that way.
Well, it's I still disagree that it's retribution in any way. Like that actually doesn't even make sense, because I don't even see it as forcing the child on the woman as much as I see it as precluding her from killing it. Like it's not a positive. It's not like.
I mean, did you not say that?
It would.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying it's more of a negative right, in my view of, like, you are not permitted to harm this other person. And I know you probably disagree that it's another person, but just like put yourself.
No, it is a person. The question is whether or not it's up for moral consideration. That's what matters to me. Is and what I deem something to be worthy of moral consideration is whether or not that it effectively has had a conscious experience before, just as it would in the future.
Yeah, but that's totally arbitrary, right?
Yeah, but that's kind of morals. Morals in itself are arbitrary, but I think it's logically based. I think it follows and it works with just about any situation, right? You can list just about any hypothetical you like, and it would be cogent.
Well, I guess where I'm going is, even essentially any line that you draw after birth, or I'm sorry, any line you draw after conception would be applied to someone who's already born, or it could easily be applied to someone who's born, right? Like even viability. If you take the viability example, like let's say hypothetically, if a child was born into a coma and they were born, they were alive, right? Their heart was beating, even potentially had brain activity. Mm-hmm. If a child was born but they were in a coma, and then that child stayed in a coma for 2 years after birth and then died without ever waking up, do you believe that child ever lived?
Yeah, it did live. I mean, technically it's alive.
So then viability is not your standard. How is that viability?
No, it's conscious experience.
Okay, even by that standard, then how were they ever consciously experiencing anything?
So they would have consciously experienced before, but I suppose, like, assuming a guarantee, right, that it will never ever come, like, it will never ever like recover out of it, then yeah, you're perfectly okay to pull the plug.
But pull the plug on what if it's
On
not
the unconscious baby that will never wake up.
Okay, I see. Okay, so you do think it's alive. You just think it's not worth protecting, right?
Yeah, literally Yeetus the fetus.
But it's not a fetus, right?
Yeah, no,
It'd be
sorry, Yeetus the beatus.
born living human, right? Yeah, it would be Yeetus the born living human. So,
I mean, we did this with Terry Schiavo, did we not? We do this all the
Terry
time, right? When somebody is never going to wake up, right? We find it morally permissible to terminate someone's life knowing that they will never wake up. We're perfectly okay with that.
that is debated. It's not like a moral, because now you're saying, when you say we determine XYZ, you just said morality is subjective, right?
Yes.
So we don't do anything. That would be an overgeneralization.
Well,
right?
I mean,
Like,
I'm saying I
debated.
agree with that position, right? It seems to it's logically coherent. It makes sense. And like, I'm willing to hear other people's argument towards it as to why it would not be acceptable, but I think it is. And I mean, the way that I determine like things to be moral versus immoral ultimately comes down to what leads to the best possible outcomes.
Okay. Even outcomes though is still, wouldn't you say? I guess it's hard to draw a line, right? Because from your worldview, which would be purely empirical, right? Like purely,
Yes.
If you can't taste, touch, smell it, if you can't measure it, it's not to be. In fact, I think I watched
or
another of your
possess any
debates and you said it
useful,
doesn't exist,
empirical
right?
information. Yeah, it basically doesn't exist. Yes.
Okay, so by that standard, then, if empiricism is all you have, David Hume said, he wrote a long time ago, you can't get an ought from an is. How could you draw any morals, subjective or objective, from empiricism?
Hmm.
Like, how could you ever say if empiricism is?
Yeah,
the
I mean, I'm
only
not
metric?
using empiricism to determine like my moral systems.
Well, you said outcomes, right? Wouldn't that be like empirically observed?
Well, the outcomes is like, for example, I believe that we ought survive, for example, but that's not
Yeah, but
really
why?
deriving an ought from an is. I
It
I
is.
believe.
You're saying
well,
ought.
okay,
Why
so
ought
I
we
believe
survive?
that it's entropic, right? That it must be that way, right? Regardless of how we
what's
feel about
entropic?
it. It means that things that go from a higher energy state to a lower energy state of chaos, or rather from a spread out energy state of chaos.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, what are you saying is entropic? Like,
I
don't understand.
the desire of survival being entropic, right? Like it must happen because we come from a
Okay.
long line of eukaryotic organisms where the way that we've propagated ourselves has been through survival, and so there's like this innate drive to survival.
Yeah, but saying that there is an innate drive to survival still doesn't answer why there should be an innate drive for survival.
That's
It's
correct.
actually a naturalistic fallacy. You're saying because things are this way, because things naturally occur this way, then they ought to be that way. It's a naturalistic fallacy.
That's fair. Like you said, you can't derive an ought from an is. I'm saying where I get it from.
Okay. So let me ask you this then. If morality is subjective in this way, then how would you do you make any moral judgments on anyone else for anything ever?
Sure.
How could you do that if morality is subjective, then whatever moral stance they take would have to be just as valid as yours, right?
No,
How not?
because
If it's
my
subjective to
metric
them.
is survival, and what leads to better
Yeah,
outcomes.
but that's relative to you. If someone's metric was destruction, how could you argue against it?
Well, because that
Like
doesn't
anti-survival.
lead to better outcomes.
but better is loaded, right? Better,
Yes.
you're assuming your moral relative,
Yeah, got to
Your-
start somewhere.
your relative morality is right. Yeah, but
Yes.
you're assuming it's right.
Well, I think that I just think that people have different values, different value systems, and at the very basal level, people desire to survive, and it's usually from they want to experience things, and because they have different interests, I want to see as many of those people having those things as possible.
Yeah, but I mean,
Right,
I don't
so
want
they
to
may have a different-
or go in circles or anything, but I mean, that's still you're still assuming your worldview is right, because if you couldn't actually, you would actually have no basis to condemn someone if they had the exact
Sure, it does.
opposite.
It doesn't
of what you
propagate
said.
survival. It makes things worse for people. Then I'd be against you for that.
but again, you can't explain why the propagation of survival is something we
Sure, I
ought to
can. It's
seek.
entropic.
It is entropic. Why ought it be?
No,
Right?
there's no, again, you can't draw an ought from an is. That's fine. I
Exactly.
subjectively interpret it, so it's fine.
Yeah, it's all relative. I mean, I know we're going in circles. I don't want to bog it down or anything, but I think somehow abortion ended up being the least important thing we talked about, even though that's what I came on here to talk about. But but hey, it is what it is, I guess. So
Do you got anything else for me? That was an interesting conversation.
yeah, not really. I mean, I guess I should have just picked your hot take about morality being relative after all that. So, but yeah, so we'll just roll with that. That's what I ended up talking about. So, but yeah, you're good. You can move on to the next person. I don't want to take up too much time.
No problem. It was nice talking to you.
So,
I appreciate
you
it.
too. Appreciate the convo. Thanks.
What in the world do I call that debate? That was all over the place.
Yeah. I mean, you should get better at philosophy, my man, because
My philosophy's not good.
recently it's only philosophy, you know.
I mean,
that
maybe I
you're
need to pick up more
discussing.
philosophy
I mean,
books. What book should
yeah.
I read?
I think so. I mean, I don't know, man. Start with Hume. I would say. I don't know. Most philosophers, they're not that great at writing books. They're pretty shit at writing books.
I mean, I'm aware Hegel was really bad with books.
Oh no, don't. Oh my god.
The worst.
No.
The worst.
If there's one thing in your life to not do,
Is not
never
read
read
it.
Hegel.
Never read Hegel. Exactly.
No.
I'm aware.
Just read other people that distill
Yes,
everything he had to say.
I've actually
That's
learned
way
that in
better.
my philosophy books. At least from what I've read.
I mean, he's in the top 0.1% in being shit at writing when it comes to philosophers. He might actually be the number one, to be honest.
I did read Thus Spoke Zarathustra by Nietzsche.
Yeah.
That
Nietzsche is also
That was not a
weird.
fun
I mean,
read.
Nietzsche is more like weird. Yeah. It's
Well,
not
it
a
was
fun
not-
read,
it was
but
not a
depends
fun
on the
read.
books.
it was hands down one of the hardest reads I've ever had to endure. I did not enjoy it whatsoever.
Also, Nietzsche is kind of bad. I think he was really bad at philosophy, because you could literally read his books. We could both read the same thing and come with diverging ideas, from what we read. So, yeah, I don't think Nietzsche was that great at philosophy. Maybe he didn't have everything clear in his mind.
One thing I learned about Nietzsche is that, unironically, his opinion of women reads like an incel on Reddit.
Well, you should read Schopenhauer in that case. if you want to be very certain that's who wrote it.
I'm not wrong, bro.
Yeah.
He's crazy. I'm just bro, what is this Reddit tier argument, bro? I'm reading his stuff. I'm oh my god.
No, that's what I'm telling you. It's if you think Nietzsche is bad at that, just read Schopenhauer, right? And his thoughts on women, okay? And you will understand there's worse. There's somebody always worse. So,
Anyway.
But yeah, no, you are correct. Thousands of years of believing
right.
women are just
Well, we do have
cattle.
other people that would like to join. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to bring him in. We've got here Max and then Andreas. Okay, so don't let me forget you, right? Get mad at me in the chat if I do not get to you. Just keep that hand up because then I know how long you've been doing it. Anyway, Max,
What's up?
you're being invited to debate
Yeah,
or discuss or whatever. What you got for me?
I forgot. That's the thing. My brain is
Too much weed,
I
Max.
I haven't smoked since April weed. But I have pneumonia, so my
that sucks.
brain is
Oh yeah, I
yellow
forgot about that.
mush. But no, I wanted to come in.
Are you
because of the
okay,
stuff
man?
you-
Because that's some pretty serious stuff there.
Oh yeah, I'm not a pussy, so I'm kicking this pneumonia's ass.
Bro, pneumonia is very easy to die from.
Yeah, if you're a weakling, but
What?
I'm not. It's okay.
All right.
Yes,
I'm not even going to talk to you about that.
only weaklings die from that. You know that. No, I'm kidding. I had like a horrible week, but I'm getting better. I'm getting better.
Okay, that's good.
I wanted to come on when you were talking about, analyzing the bait. And
Yeah, no.
They were
Let's have
talking
the
about
conversation.
the Andrew Wilson thing.
Yeah.
I was watching the previous one with Josh and Andrew, and I was quite disappointed at James allowing Josh to do what he did. That was in such poor taste.
Wait, I'm sorry. Can you repeat that? I apologize. I was distracted by my game. My apologies.
James, I'm a bit disappointed in James allowing Josh to do what he did. That was in such poor taste.
Okay. Which debate are you referring to? Josh?
The one, yeah, Josh and Andrew with Classy and that the other guy.
Are you referring to the guy who was in the dress?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I'm actually amazed that that's like the level, I guess, of discussion that you get like coming from the right on the anti-trans discussion.
Oh yeah, of course.
Right?
It's not surprising, but I'm kind of disappointed in James that he would let it go forward like that.
I mean, like, I think he's just thinking probably like how I would think with a channel that big is like, hey, this is good for the audience, good for the metrics, right? Good for the engagement. And it's fair enough. I can't blame him for it, right?
Yeah, but it kind of makes a mockery out of the whole debate and the topic and pretty much that whole position to let someone ridicule that thing like that.
I agree with you there that it does.
I'm not a right-wing nutter and I was embarrassed.
So how do you would have invited him on, basically?
No, on the back room, I would have said, like, go, wash your face, take off the earrings, take off the dress, and come back, or you're not starting this debate.
I mean, certainly the fact that he invited him, then it's pretty much assumed that he's going to do that, right? Because they've been keeping that up for months, bro. And get this, they've got different outfits. Did you hear me?
No,
they got a lot of it. They got like a whole wardrobe, right? They're into it. They like it.
I know Josh kind of did that as like his kit for a while.
And then he just never dropped the skit.
It's but it's so distasteful.
No, I agree.
And then for the opponents, how like when Josh was saying like, don't misgender me, he's like, first of all, fuck you. And second of all, you're just making a mockery out of this whole situation, so I'll refer to you as an it. How's that? I'll refer to you as Mr. Fucking Moron.
I don't blame you in saying that at all. I get it. When I saw him, I was like, I mean, listen, here's the thing. I'm just going to say it. I think he's trans. I think they're trans. Right? So we're going to just call them as what they are, right? They're a she. Right? And that's going to be that. That's how that works.
Yeah, maybe that's also that's also a good strategy. I don't know. I don't know, but I think the Classy and the other guy, I really forget the name. I'm sorry. I think they handled that part well by not harping on it.
Yeah.
I would have
No,
been,
for sure.
but I am more aggressive in general in debates. Like that shit wouldn't have flown with me. No way.
I got to watch the whole thing. I did not watch the whole thing because I mean, seriously, I really, really do not like Andrew Wilson. I'm just like, I don't want to see this guy's face. This guy actually like makes me visibly angry, and he's not even in the room with me, right? Like I'm just watching a video and I'm just like getting angry.
He's not even that good at debating. They prop him up like I heard some dudes tell me like he's the best debater on YouTube. It's like fuck no. No, he's not.
Who do you think is the best debater?
Depends on the topic. Politics, I would say Destiny, because he just overwhelms everyone with like research and how fast he can speak.
Yeah.
For religion, I really liked Alex O'Connor today, and there's a couple of others. Mark Reed is great. Flat Earth, there's many of them, including myself. I don't know. It depends on the topic. I choose them like that, depending on the topic. But I have a little inside info. In February, during DebateCon, Andrew Wilson will be debating FTFE on
Fight the Flat Earth?
Yes. Secular humanism versus his derpy idea of what religion is. So FTFE is no pushover. So his little bully tactics are not going to work. So that one is going to be great.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? God, I mean, I think next time if I ever do debate Andrew Wilson again, I am going to
I'll
be
give you some tips on
I am
how
going
to
to be
be
so
like,
mean
more
to him,
aggressive.
bro.
Yes.
I am going to be. Have you seen me discuss? Have you seen how I get when I'm aggressive? It is insane.
No,
it is way too oppressive.
It's not about just like aggressiveness.
Sorry,
Andrew Wilson thinks he is a bully, but he's just a fucking coward sitting in his little room smoking cigarettes and being a nobody with a large audience. That's the reality. He thinks he's a bully, so you have to remind him that he's not a bully, that he's just another idiot on the internet saying shit.
Yeah.
That is kind of the thing. It requires more violence than just like rhetoric aggressiveness, if that makes any kind of sense.
So
I was telling Classy Neurotic.
How would you have? Let me ask you this, right? Like, how do you think I could have improved on the Andrew Wilson debate? Besides aggressiveness, of course.
Not let him dictate some of the terms of the conversation, making sure that he kind of accepts the definition that sex and gender are different, which I don't think you really went.
No, I didn't delve into it.
That is important because
I focused on trying to make it into like a gotcha, right? Because
yes,
and I think I did
Sometimes
get them
that
on the
works.
gotcha, but I think most people it like flew over their heads a bit.
yes, that's sometimes the gotcha tactic. The problem is that you don't really. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But having a more robust thing, like if you can't really get him to accept that sex and gender are currently different and that concepts change over time, then there's really nothing else. It's like, okay, you're locked in your nah position, wave the white flag, let's go into the questions.
Gotcha. Yeah. Good point.
All right. If you want to keep
I'm always trying to improve my debates and my debate style. So
Yeah.
you know, the advice is appreciated, right? Provided, of course, it's not coming from the hate mob of Andrew Wilson.
Oh my, yeah, he has so many simps.
so many freaking people that just
They
hated me, bro.
they
I
were
couldn't believe
mad
it.
at me because I hadn't had a chance. I always do when the bro counter gets like when the bro in the debate gets very high, I put on the bro counter. And his LARPing boys were so mad at me. They were trying to get me in trouble with James for moderating, and it didn't work. And I continued with the bro counter, and they were raging, raging mad.
That
It
bad,
was
huh?
funny as
That's
hell. Yes.
That's great.
And it's so idiotic because I was just like putting the number like 29, 30, 31.
Yeah.
And just that
Yeah.
kept on triggering them. And
Drives
they
people
were
nuts,
just,
bro.
yes.
I
And he just kept on
I'm
saying,
gonna,
like,
I'm just
bro,
gonna, I'm
bro,
gonna
bro.
be honest with you. I'm almost positive that I've said bro mid debate.
Oh, that in my book, that gets you an automatic loss. It's not a
Dang,
serious thing
man.
to say bro during a debate. Yes. That it's called the bro rule, and I fucking hate it.
I'll try not to say bro, just for you, buddy.
Substitute it for mate.
Amanda Thomas says, I think you're great at debating, Amender. I love Amanda. She's my favorite. She's one of my favorites. She's amazing. She's so nice to me. Anyway, all right. So it does look like we got some other people that would like to speak. So keep those hands up if you plan on speaking. So just keep them up so I know who's asking and who's what. I appreciate y'all very much for joining me today. All right. So it looks like we've got Andreas. Andreas, you're being invited to speak. How are you doing today?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
How's it going? I'm I'm doing good today. How are you doing?
Good. What can I help you with?
Yeah, maybe I've been super interested in the recent discoveries in the UFOs recently in New Jersey. Would like to maybe speak about this to people.
Sure.
So, do we have an idea of where these things are coming from?
I'm not sure. I'm not aware of this particular instance you're referring to. You're saying it's something that just happened in New Jersey?
Yeah, the past 2 weeks or so, there has been a lot of UFOs in New Jersey, and maybe we could speak just about the UFOs in general. But
Okay, let's take a look here. So, Homeland Security shares new details of mysterious drone flights over New Jersey. Tell you what, why don't I go ahead and I'm going to share it on my screen. Give me one quick second to do that. All right. So I'm if you don't see it on my YouTube channel, I would recommend to pull it up on my YouTube channel. But it says here, the large mysterious drones reported flying over parts of New Jersey in recent weeks appear to avoid detection by traditional methods such as helicopter and radio, according to a state lawmaker briefed Wednesday by the Department of Homeland Security. In a post on the social media platform X, Assemblywoman Dawn Fantasia described the drones as up to 6 feet in diameter and sometimes traveling with their lights switched off. The Morris County Republican was among several state and local lawmakers who met with state police and Homeland Security officials to discuss the spate of sightings that range from New York City area to New Jersey and westward into parts of Pennsylvania, including Philadelphia. The devices do not appear to be flown by hobbyists, Fantasia wrote. Dozens of mysterious nighttime flights starting last month have raised growing concern among residents and officials. Part of the worry stems from flying objects initially being spotted near the Picatinny Arsenal a U.S. military research and manufacturing facility, and over President Donald Trump's golf course in Bedminster. Drones are legal in New Jersey for recreational commercial use, but they are subject to local Federal Aviation Administration regulations and flight restrictions. Operators must be FAA certified. Most, but not all, of the drones spotted in New Jersey were larger than those typically used by hobbyists. Okay. So you believe that this is what exactly?
I'm thinking that maybe this is not the aliens, but maybe China is spying on us, because a couple of years ago we had the Chinese spy balloon in the United States. I cannot help but think that this is something reminiscent to this, because they are not detected in our airspace, and it seems as if, for whatever reason, the US either cannot or will not shoot these so-called UAPs or drones down. So it makes me wonder, do the government know what these are? Or are they completely foreign objects? If they are completely foreign objects, where are they from? But as I say, I think this is China. What do you think? Or maybe someone else has an opinion on this?
I don't know. I honestly have no idea what it could be. All I can think of is, a lot of people, what they tend to lean towards is that they believe it's like of extraterrestrial origin. I find that very hard to believe, right? That would require some pretty incredible evidence for me to say that it would be the case.
Yeah, I agree with this.
But I'm glad that at least you're saying that, okay, you think that it may not be aliens, but that you believe it could be, maybe Chinese origin, which fair enough. I mean, there were, Chinese spy satellites, right?
Yes, I think this is the only logical explanation right now, because, there is.
Well,
no...
I mean, it's even saying that it could be a drone.
Yes, but you have to realize that this is happening so frequent, and drones are usually able to be seen in, by air traffic control. As well as this, all of the reportings are saying that these drones are the size of a car, which, makes no sense to me. And if these are hobbyist drones, why would they just not be shot down? There has never been a time where, so with these drones, they are flying over military airspace in the United States. Why would they allow hobbyist drones to continually do this without any repercussions?
Okay, so I'm actually looking at this up, right? Drones that are larger, right, such as those that are used commercially or by government agencies, they may or may not be equipped with what's called an air traffic control radar, which or an ADS-B system, which is an automatic dependent surveillance broadcast. So in order for it to even be detected by air traffic surveillance systems, it would need to have one of these, right? And so it would not surprise me if there were drones that were larger in size that do not have these, right? Because it's possible to just not have it on there.
I mean, this is such an unexplained phenomena.
I just gave you a plausible explanation.
But why are they not being shot down?
It's not in any airspace that requires it being shot down.
Well, it is. It's unlikely.
Just because it's in the air doesn't mean shoot it down, because it's not reporting to air traffic controllers.
Well, no, the FBI are even aware of this, and they are investigating this matter. Why is it that we cannot also? So, we have had military aircraft try and go after these so-called drones, but they cannot simply catch up. And it seems as if they move in the sky in these unknown ways to which a normal aircraft or drone would not do this. There is such an uncertainty about the threat level of these drones.
What are you talking about?
Well, what do you mean? What am I talking about?
How are they moving in a way that a drone can't move, or like an aircraft can't move?
Well, they are so fast, and they can reach very high altitudes.
It's not the claim of this New Jersey thing. Do you need me to look at something else?
Yeah, I think you could look more into this to figure this out, maybe.
Right. And just so you know, right, in order to determine the speed of something, you really first need to have a reference point, right? A static reference point to know
Well, of
exactly how fast it's going. And a lot of the times, because it's like up in the air, it's not really super easy to get like the most perfect reference point. So it's very difficult to actually determine a direct speed. However, say for example that you have like the ground, you can have yourself a solid reference point. And it's quite often that a lot of these devices, right, it appears like it's going fast due to parallax, but then the reality is that it's actually doing a very reasonable speed.
So if these are just normal drones, why is it that the government are actually acknowledging this, but not really giving us the full information?
Because they don't
You
know what it
know,
is.
So why is it that this is my point here? Why do we not know what this is, and why are we being so lax about it?
Because we're not the pilot of the drone.
Okay, but it is. We don't know if it is a threat or not. We can assume that it is a threat because it is in our airspace, our military airspace. At this, if another foreign object,
Well, something like
went
that gets shot down, right? Like if it's in military airspace, it would get shot down.
But this is what I am saying. They have been seen in the military airspace countless times in New Jersey. So this is my point: is why are they not being shot
by
down?
military airspace, not in
No,
military airspace.
They have been in military airspace. They have also been in military airspace in the UK.
That is not. That is FYI, not what your article said. Your
Okay,
article
well,
did not indicate that.
This is not exclusive to the article. This is the broader topic here.
But then you're bringing up all sorts of different topics, right? Like,
well, I was not limited to this one article. It was you who brought the article up. I don't.
well, I wanted something, right, to work off of a credible source, right? If you don't bring up anything, I'm going to see if I can find anything on AP or Reuters, something that'll be credible.
Yeah, which is why I'm trying to fill you in with the more information. So there has been. You can look at this one up as well.
Mhm.
RAF Lakenheath drone sightings. This is in the UK.
RAF what?
Are they related to the ones in New Jersey?
Well, they have similar patterns in the sky. Yes.
Who determined that?
What do you mean? Who determined this? From video evidence,
Yeah.
you can see that they are similar in the way.
Do you have that
It is
evidence?
also the fact that they have been sightings.
Do you have
so much
Do you have
more
a
recently.
source that I can like look at?
Yes, I can find this. Just bear with me.
Yeah, because I'm not finding a whole lot on saying Raf Lakenhoff UFO. I've not seen.
I will put this in the member stage chat. Just please be with me, please.
Uh-huh.
Here you go. I will paste this into into.
Okay. And I'll go ahead and read out this article so we can talk about it. It's not a long article. Mystery drones seen over 3 U.S. air bases in the UK. A number of unidentified drones have been spotted over 3 air bases in Britain, the United States Air Force has confirmed. The incidents, which occurred between Wednesday and Friday, saw small unmanned aerial systems spotted over RAF Lakenheath and RAF Mildenhall in Suffolk, RAF Feltwell in the neighboring county of Norfolk. And the USAF, which uses the bases, said it was unclear at this stage as to whether or not the drones were considered hostile. It also declined to comment onto whether any of the defense mechanisms were used, but said it retained the right to protect installations. A spokesperson for the USAF in Europe said, "We can confirm that the small unmanned aerial systems, UASs, were spotted in the vicinity of RAF Lakenheath, RAF Mildenhall, and Faltwell. The number of UASs fluctuated as they ranged in size and configuration. The UASs were actively monitored, and installation leaders determined that none of the incursions impacted base residents or critical infrastructure. To protect operational security, we do not discuss our specific force protection measures, but retain the right to protect the installation. We continue to monitor our airspace and are working on the host nation authorities and mission partners to ensure the safety of base personnel, facilities, and assets. RAF Mildenhall is primary home of the USAF's 100th Air Refueling Wing. RAF's Lakenheath is home to the USAF F-35A and F-15E fighter jets, while the RAF Feltwell is mainly concerned with logistics, offering housing for military personnel. The spokesperson for the British Ministry of Defence, which owns the bases, says, "We take threats seriously and maintain robust measures in defense sites, and that includes counter-drone security capabilities. We won't comment further on security procedures." I have no indication that this is not a drone.
Also, it says small
Okay.
vehicles, so they're not the size of cars, which was the previous claim.
Yeah, so you have a drone that is the size of a car. You really think that this?
Where does it say size of a car in any article?
It doesn't say it in this article, but rest assured that this is a very known. Let me find more sources for this.
I
I
mean,
think you should have had these sources before.
to me,
having a debate.
right? Like, it appears that, like, I guess, like, it's really common that people don't have, like it's, I feel like the mundane is probably going to be a better explanation as opposed to, like, I don't know, something crazier, I suppose. That's kind of where I'm concerned with. Is like, why couldn't this be a drone? Right? They even said that it was a smaller object here. So it's like, I've even more indication that that's a drone.
So you believe that this? So what is your definition of the drone? You think that this is something that has been made by or is piloted by just
A
normal
human
person?
somewhere. Yeah. It could either be a hobbyist or it could be, somebody from another government. Sure.
Yeah, I don't know if I believe this. Maybe.
So what do you believe it is?
Maybe
I thought you were
just bunch
saying
of-
it was coming from another government,
might
like
just be
China.
a bunch of niggas that are doing it. I don't know.
What?
You know, it just might be niggers that are doing this.
All right. I'm going to move you to the audience
Okay,
for that
well,
one. Yep, that's gonna
That's
be the
very good.
audience.
You're
It's-
also going to receive a warning for this one. Good for you, mate.
I don't know why people have to do that, bro.
Yeah, they feel they're very smart.
Real funny, I guess.
Yeah.
What a waste of time. All right. I'm going to go ahead and looks like Classy would like to speak again.
Hey, really sorry about that. I was like starting to get the feeling this guy might be trolling, but I don't know.
I try to take people at face value and assume that they're going to act in good
Yeah.
faith for the debates.
And I had the
but-
same feeling. I wasn't guessing he was gonna go that way, though.
Okay. I just wanted to like ask you, again, not here to debate, but just like ask you a few questions. Do you know like anything about like the Ukrainian war? Like, do you have like a position on it?
Yeah, I mean, I think we should do everything we can to protect Ukraine. Right? I
Okay.
don't want to live in a
Well-
society that fosters authoritarian governments, and I want to see the United States victorious over Russia.
Okay. Yeah, sounds cool. So I agree with you. The reason I was asking is because I've been doing a lot of reading up in the Ukraine war because it's like really relevant right now, and I was thinking like maybe in the future, doing like a debate on it. Not right now. I don't want to do any more debates for the rest of the month. But would you be interested in like doing like another tag team debate? Maybe about like the Ukrainian war.
Sure, That'd be great.
I don't
I
know.
would love to.
I don't know if like MDD would want to do something like that because they mostly do like religion and like I guess like the flat Earth stuff is like super popular. But
Why is flat Earth popular? Jesus,
yeah, they just do like it's just this flat Earth all the time.
so stupid.
But I mean, if there's like another topic I can think of, but like I think that's like probably the next thing I would like to get into. It's just because it's like super relevant. Because I have like pretty nervous what Trump's gonna do with Ukraine. So yeah,
I mean, you know
it's
what's going
scary.
to happen, right? Like, come on. He's going to stop. He's going to start dropping funding. What I'm hoping is that there will be enough people that will realize like, listen, I was just being a Machiavellian here where I was just trying to get as much power as possible. And now that I have power because Trump granted me it, I'm not going to listen to anything he says.
Well, the thing is,
'Cause he's an idiot.
historically,
I hope.
Trump isn't really good at like fulfilling his promises. I mean, we didn't get the wall during his presidency. He didn't repeal and replace the ACA. I mean, yes, there's more sycophants of Trump in Congress now and stuff like that. But like, even historically during his presidency, we did give arms, to Ukraine while they're also like fighting the whole things of Donbass and the Lugansk region, whatever.
Luhansk, I think.
But Lugansk, yeah. But I think he's probably gonna reverse Biden's decision to allow them to like send attack them to the I think it was the Kirk's region. That's probably one of the first things he's probably gonna do. But it's kind of scary because I don't know. Is he gonna make some like really unfair deal? Is he gonna pull in out of Afghanistan where he makes a deal, but it only like benefits Russia basically? It just like leaves out the Ukrainians, and then like they're just like forced to take into it because if not, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have a whole lot to say about that. I guess like I mean I'm genuinely concerned about Trump. I hope nothing happens. I hope whatever Trump tries to do is relatively harmless, right? Because I mean I am genuinely worried.
I'm freaking scared. I mean, it's not just Ukraine. Like, regardless of like your position
Pretty much
on
everything.
the Israel-Palestine conflict, yeah, like he's gonna fuck everything up. And I even been talking to like my friends. It sounds crazy. It's like, hey, maybe cut back on the spending because if these terrorists are gonna hit us hard, it's gonna suck.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. It's pretty exhausting, actually, unfortunately.
Oh, Andres is still like trolling. Okay, yeah. This guy isn't capable of having an actual conversation.
Yeah, what a shame.
All right. Well, have a good night.
No problem. Oh my goodness. So what do you think, Daniel?
I mean, my opinion about the Ukraine situation. I think
Are you
everybody
in favor
should.
of helping
The
Ukraine,
West.
or?
Yes, of course. I'm in favor, and I'm very, very consistent with my takes. I like to be very consistent, and I think we should always stand for the people that are being oppressed and invaded. So that's why I'm pro-Ukraine and pro-Palestine.
Yeah, completely
Same
agree.
reason. Not
Completely
because I
agree.
have like this amazing love about for the Ukrainian people or the Palestinian people, but I feel like people should be able to self-determine, and we shouldn't be just murdered for being what they are.
Stop. No way. What? What?
Yeah, it's crazy.
What?
I know.
What?
It's just
Are you
like
crazy.
Can I
How dare
can I
you.
tell another thing? And this is my consistency. Like for example, in the shooting of the healthcare CEO. I mean, it's pretty obvious the victim was the healthcare CEO.
No freaking way. You actually
But-
believe that? Oh, of course.
I
Here
also
comes.
just a sec. I also think in the case of that guy in the subway, Daniel Penny, right? I think the guy he killed was the actual victim, right? But if you're gonna talk with a right winger,
Daniel
you're
Penny?
gonna
Who's that?
you're gonna is the guy that killed like a homeless guy in the New York subway. He choked him to death.
It's terrible.
Yeah, and he got acquitted, right? He was found not guilty,
What?
which is a travesty of justice, in my opinion. I
okay,
still think he is a murderer
Okay,
by all
so
definition.
this is not like one of those Kyle Rittenhouse moments where it's like nobody actually like
Oh, it
watched
is.
the trial. Because here's the thing, right? Like I watched the trial, for example, with Kyle Rittenhouse, and I side with Kyle Rittenhouse.
Yeah, maybe it's like I don't.
Right, but
I-
then
I
again,
don't care.
I'm coming at that from a side of like I watched the entire thing.
Yeah, maybe it doesn't mean you necessarily have like a good understanding of what evidence. Like for example, as far as I know, in the Kyle Rittenhouse case, the judge was seemingly pretty biased towards like towards Rittenhouse.
The judge was old.
And there were like a few moments.
The judge
Yeah,
was
but
old.
this
He was
is-
like, what
this
is
is
this,
the
a
thing.
fried pickle?
A judge can
talking about
influence.
pixels.
Yeah, but a judge can influence.
I'm
The
telling
jury.
you,
The
dude, I
judge
watched
has a
it.
lot of
I did
power.
not see like this overwhelming bias that you're talking about. I did not.
I didn't see overwhelming bias. I said he was biased
Yeah.
towards Rittenhouse. I
I
didn't,
didn't
say
see
overwhelming.
I didn't see bias towards him.
Yeah, but again, it's like it's a minor that goes from one place to another, a place where he doesn't necessarily live in. He has a weapon he hasn't legally purchased.
Well, the concern
And-
isn't that, right? The concern is
again,
the
this
killing,
is,
right? Because
uh,
like the other things
yeah,
are like
I know,
fines.
I know, but
Those
I
are
think
fines.
I think
right?
it's
We're talking about the
it's not in a
potential
void.
murder of people, right? And here's the
Yeah,
thing,
but
right? He
things
spent,
don't happen in a void.
well, hear this out, right? He basically like initially, right, for I think over 10 minutes ran, right, from the crowd. Right? He actively avoided violence every single step, and it was only until he was knocked down and there was a guy hitting him with his skateboard that he started shooting. Right? And like honestly, I don't think he could have pulled himself out. Right? And again,
Yeah, but I
like
think you're going to look. It's like when where you're in that situation, you already have the gun. Your presence there with the gun is what incited the whole thing. Okay,
Mhm.
so it's like yes, after the people started running after him, yeah, you can make a case for self-defense.
I get it, but it's like, isn't that kind of
That's very cool.
this is gonna sound
I
weird,
know,
but I'm just isn't that kind of like an argument of like what was she wearing? I'm sorry.
No, because there's a very big difference between people wearing clothes and people having guns in public, right? Especially when you're
But, like,
going
there's
with
an
a gun
assumption
in a
that,
place
like-
where you having a gun
So
might put
you
at
having a
risk.
gun doesn't justify like you got to go after them because they have a gun, right?
Well, I mean, maybe no, but it does actually, because it's like if people feel afraid that you might misuse the gun, they might feel also the need to actually self-defend and say, you know what, maybe we should go first after him before he starts to shoot us. Right? That's what
I just
instigation actually
disagree. I
means.
just think that like if you have a
No,
gun,
but it's fine. Like regardless, it's like that wasn't my point that I was trying to make. I don't want to rehash the whole Kyle Rittenhouse
we should.
situation.
we should.
I think
though.
for this guy, Daniel Penny, I think it's a lot clearer.
Okay.
There was like a
I'll have to-
homeless person in the subway that didn't hurt anybody. Just because some people were uncomfortable or that they had this idea, that he might do something. It doesn't mean he was going to do something.
I will have to watch it, the actual like trial, because like what I find quite often is that the news media they'll spin it in a particular way, and they often will leave out crucial pieces of detailed evidence that.
Yeah, but the
absolutely
thing
will
that
sway
bothered me like
jury's
a lot,
decision.
it was that
What was
people
it
were
called?
saying that in
Was it televised?
Daniel Penny. I don't know if it was televised. I have no
Maybe.
idea. But regardless, it's like the right-wing media, portrayed Daniel Penny as the real victim, and I do believe that the victim is actually the person that actually died. Just like in Kyle Rittenhouse case, it wasn't Kyle Rittenhouse being the victim; it actually
I
the
know
people that
nothing about
killed
this. This is
that were the
bonkers.
victims. Yeah, it was in New York. I think
I don't
the murder
see
happened somewhere last year.
trial. I don't see the
I
trial.
don't know if it was televised.
It may
I
not have
know
been
that not
televised.
every.
I wish it was.
So
But do you
name
know
of the
what's
guy
one that
he
I really
killed-
wish was televised? The
Which one?
the Ghislaine Maxwell trial.
Well,
Why
you can be
not?
sure that-
I
Well, I
needed
mean,
it in
like-
my life.
Let's say that some people don't really want that televised.
Oh,
okay?
come on.
Some people that are on some list, okay, didn't
I
really
wanted
want
to
that
see it. I
televised.
know what you're saying. I wanted to see it, okay? That would have been an incredible trial.
That would have been nice. That would have been
First of all,
nice. I'll give you that.
The U.S. government is not protecting Ghislaine Maxwell. She is in jail, my good sir.
Yeah, they're really not protecting her at all. I mean, she's
Oh, I
in
see.
jail, and it's like, oh,
I see what you're saying. Like, she's protected in the sense that she's in jail and not being physically attacked by the mob
she
rule.
didn't suicide herself.
That's another discussion. We could
Yeah.
we can bring
On
that
the live,
discussion away.
sorry,
There's too
for
many. Yeah,
YouTube
there's too many people that have
purposes.
their hands up. Okay, so it looks like that. I'm almost positive that Moff Doom is the one who raised their hand first. So we're gonna bring in
I'm
Moff
pretty
Doom.
sure.
Moff Doom, you are being invited
Hello,
to
can you hear
speak.
me?
How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you guys?
Good. What do you want to talk about?
Just to be fair, I think Uncle Magus had his hand up first, but I'll go ahead. I think I'll be quick. I only raised my hand because of the Daniel Penny thing that got brought up. And I've been doing a little bit of research on it. Well, a good bit of research on it. And I don't like the way Daniel is framing it, I guess, because in my mind it's even less than the Kyle Rittenhouse case, because from like eyewitness testimony and also people who were there who were literally granted immunity after their testimony who helped restrain Jordan Neely, they all protest to the fact that Daniel Penny was not applying pressure.
Hold on, real quick. I just want to point out, you're going to be debating Daniel Hume on this because I don't know enough about this to say anything.
Oh yeah, no, that's fine. He's on here, so that's why I brought it up.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's okay with
No, it's perfectly fine. Go for
with
it.
Amender.
Go for it. Have the debate.
Yeah,
I'm playing
so
my game.
yeah, I just got killed in this fucking game. So eyewitness testimony, people who were there, all said and all testified to the fact that Daniel Penny at the time was not applying enough pressure, or it wasn't applying pressure, and you can still hear Jordan Neely speaking. Wow.
Okay, can you tell me what the coroner said? What was the reason?
Yes,
why,
this is
Jordan
it's
Neely
not the
died?
coroner's, it's the toxicology reporter.
Whatever, it's like somebody
yeah,
did
yeah.
an autopsy, right?
Yeah, this is interesting.
I don't know what the
No,
name is.
To be fair, the case went forward once the toxicology report wasn't even finished. And the toxicology was the results were published before the toxicology reports came back. That's why he was acquitted. Like, because the jury was made fully aware of this by the defense of Daniel Penny, citing that the toxicology expert had reported that it was a death by asphyxiation, maybe due to sickle cell, what's it called? She used a term that it's potential to flare up, and it could cause like a low oxygen situation, and it could cause someone to die from asphyxiation where otherwise you wouldn't expect them to, right? There's no evidence that that is what happened. And also, before the toxicology report was even stated, she had watched the video of just the part where Daniel Penny was restraining Jordan Neely, and that's how she made her determination. Do you think that that's
From a
sufficient
video?
evidence? Yes. from
No,
a
I
video.
don't think it is.
Okay, that's
don't
what the
think it
defense
is.
used to tell the jury.
Yeah, of
And
course,
that's
the
what led to
defense
his
can use
acquittal.
whatever they think it might be useful for them, right? And sometimes you're gonna throw shit at the wall and hope it sticks, right? And sometimes it does stick. And it's
Yeah, but-
also the fact that, one of the things that I feel like a lot of people need to understand is that, whenever it's about people that are from like the a place in society, right, where we don't really care about those people that much, like homeless people, for example, it's a lot easier for a jury to just say, it's like whatever. It's it's a
Okay.
homeless guy. It's like whatever. Nobody's gonna miss him, right? In the sense. And I also want to point out that the reason I brought Daniel Penny was not to litigate whether or not Daniel Penny is guilty.
Well, you called him a
It's 'cause
murderer.
the point. Yes, and I'm allowed to do that as a personal thing. Again, I'm not even American, right? So I don't really care about like what the American justice system said about him, right? I can make my own assessment of Daniel Penny. But the thing that I wanted to talk about, and the reason I brought up Daniel Penny and the healthcare CEO, is that, and this is how I started. I started by saying that, obviously the healthcare CEO was the victim, but because he died, right, in that specific incident, right? So obviously you should call him the victim. And just in the same manner, in the Daniel Penny case, it wasn't Daniel Penny being the victim, it was Jordan Neely being the victim, because he was the one dying, right? But if you're looking at right-wing media, in the right-wing media, they're going to say the healthcare CEO was the victim, but in the Jordan Neely case, it was Daniel Penny for some reason being the victim, okay? And I don't think you can have that by any means, right? Because let's say he's innocent, right? Not even not guilty. Let's say he's innocent. Regardless of whether or not he's innocent or not, right? The fact is that if you have any doubt, you're going to go through a trial, right? So what is the point? Is he a victim because there had to be a trial where he was, he had to be taken before a jury of his peers to present evidence whether or not he is guilty? Well, I don't think so. But yeah, that was the whole point that I was trying to make.
I think that when people are trying to victimize Daniel Penny, they're more so talking about how it was far more influenced by political climate rather than it being like based on like what actually happened, based on like just what actually occurred that day and what Jordan Neely was doing and those testimonies from the people who are on the subway, and then also the fact that the toxicology reporters didn't even actually do her job, which was required of her, and just do the toxicology report and be unbiased. I think that's, and again, if people are just saying like, oh, Daniel Penny is a victim because he had to be subjected to Jordan Neely being really fucking scary, then yeah, I would agree with you. It's not really fair, especially if you take into account Jordan Neely's upbringing, his father being absent, his mother being killed by an abusive boyfriend, and this and that. It's like he was a victim of a lot of other circumstances, and he also was a victim at the end of all of those circumstances, culminating in him doing what he did on the subway and then getting potentially slightly asphyxiated, I guess you could say, based on the reports.
Well, I'm just gonna say it's like it strikes me like very weird how his sickle cell anemia, if he had that, just happened to flare up at the exact moment where somebody was applying a chokehold on him. And by the way, just so you know, when you're saying he was even able to talk, yes, people when they're being choked, sometimes they are being able to speak. Being choked doesn't mean necessarily your airwaves are being impeded. It's the blood flow to your brain that's being impeded, right? So you can actually talk while being choked to death by people.
Yes,
okay?
But you understand that when you're choked to death, you will go unconscious well before you die of asphyxiation.
It depends. It depends on when that happens, right? Because maybe it's like when you have the chokehold, your strength in the chokehold is not constant throughout the whole thing, right? So it's like you could have like a slightly weaker chokehold in the first 8 minutes, and then in the last minute, right, it's just stronger or in the right place where it actually stops the blood and you just die, right? We're not machines, right? It's like people when they're doing things, maybe Daniel Penny just rearrange his arm at some point. I don't know. It's like a lot of things can happen because, Jordan Neely was also struggling because, if I were to choke you, if I were to put you in a chokehold, you wouldn't just sit by, right, and not do anything, especially if you're having an episode, right, like a manic episode or whatever. Okay, it's like you're gonna struggle, right? And in that struggle, the fact that you're holding it that way in that struggle, it can lead to somebody dying, right? So
Yes,
I
but is
think the
that
factors are like a lot more, and I don't think people actually did their due diligence in actually investigating the whole thing properly, because it was about a homeless person, and people don't really give a shit about homeless people. They give more. They give a shit about CEOs more, right? I mean, not
well,
necessarily in this guy's case, because this guy's was.
well, it's because there's
you
a
know.
distinct difference in like what led up to this. If you're in a place, in a crowded place, a very dense place, where this person has a weapon and is shouting like, "I'm gonna kill you," that CEO wasn't like shouting to a group of like people applying for insurance and was like, "I'm gonna deny your coverage and you're gonna die," right? He was targeted and then
I mean,
killed.
yes, I would agree with that. But if you look at Jordan Neely never killed anybody, right?
Well,
He never killed anybody
he's
in his.
assaulted a few people.
I said killed, right? It's like, I
Okay.
understand maybe people can, obviously, right? It's like
Yeah,
he
yeah.
wasn't like a sane person. Okay, so
Yeah.
yes, he's going to assault, and assault can mean like a lot of things, right?
Yeah, like
He never
punching.
killed anybody. Whereas in that CEO is personally responsible for thousands of people dying because of his fucking way of doing business, right? We're like using AI to deny en masse claims. Okay, so literally, if you were to say who was more in self-defense, well, maybe the Luigi guy was like more acting in self-defense, right? Because he literally took out a person that killed thousands of American citizens, right? And he would have killed even more thousands of American citizens, just like his colleagues right now are going to keep doing that, okay, in the future.
Okay, so by that same argument, do you think you could argue by that same mentality, people who like, I don't know, you'd say are responsible for like the fluctuations of our economy and like what we invest in, because we know
Oh,
that poverty can lead
The
to
reason
the
I'm
death
saying that is
of
coming back to
percentages of people.
the first point that I made, where it's in like, even understanding that, I can still say and be correct about it when I'm saying that the victim of the murder was the fucking CEO. It wasn't Luigi Mascalzone or whatever the fuck his name is, right?
Right, yeah.
So that was my only point. My whole point for bringing this up was like the hypocrisy in especially in right-wing media.
Well, okay, yeah, in right-wing media, I understand that. But you see how the two things are directly different, like those two cases. How one is like from a lot of people's understanding, at least from what I understand, is that the case against Daniel Penny was rushed, and you could have litigated something against him. Like they could have gotten manslaughter, but they initially weren't trying to get that. They were trying to get murder. They were trying to get Daniel Penny murdered Jordan Neely, and that they brought on his father who hadn't been in his life in 14 years. They brought in BLM, who was like talking all this mess about like, oh yeah, Daniel Penny targeted Jordan Neely and all this other crazy shit, and they politicized the fuck out of this case. I don't think anybody.
I mean, maybe I'll be honest. It's like I didn't really care about the political aspect or if people actually politicize the whole case. What I care more was about the people involved, right? Where specifically about Jordan Neely, and I think there's a distinct lack of care for homeless people all over the world, but the United States maybe even more.
Yeah.
Right? It's like people don't care as much, and especially in a city like New York, right? It's like it's big city, and we know how big cities are, right? It's like people stop caring, right, after a while, and I think there should be something done. And it's like at a systemic level, not because it's a type of vigilante justice, right? What Daniel Penny and this is where I think you could put like some sort of equal sign. What Daniel Penny did and like Luigi Mangione did, or whatever his name, was a type of vigilante justice. At the end of the day, do we really want that? If we want to have like a healthy society, I don't think so.
Okay, so let me pose a question. So if somebody say, let's take it to an extreme. If somebody ran past you and they had just like abducted a child, do you think that if you tackled that person and freed that child, but that person like busted his head as a result of you tackling them, do you think that a positive result was gained?
Yes, but I would still be guilty of manslaughter at the least.
Even though what
Yes, even
happened
though.
was somebody was committing a felony.
Yes.
Do you
It
think
doesn't
that you should
absolve
still be
me
liable?
of the. Yes, of course.
Okay. All right. Then how? But even if the intention behind like even the intention behind you choking a person out was like purely like, okay, this should have no chance of killing this person. What I'm
So
doing
first of
here.
all, it's really hard to actually assess like the full extent of your intentions in any situation, right? And usually you're gonna be the only person that knows
That's why
exactly
you
what
use
your intent was.
testimonies and what other people
Yeah,
were
no,
saying.
I said the full extent. I didn't
Yeah,
say at all, right? Because obviously we can get an inkling of what the intent was. Second of all, that's why in the law, for example, there is no obligation for you to intervene, right? Because, and one of the things that is understood in the law is that you might intervene and actually do worse by intervening, right? And as you said, it's like you're trying to help somebody, right? Let's say your husband and wife on the street, they're arguing, and he hits her, right? Starts beating her, and you're intervening, right? You want to save her, and you push the guy. You don't even hit him; you just push him, right? You push the guy slips on a banana peel, right? That was somehow there, drops to the ground, hits his head, he dies. Does it mean that you were just like innocent because your intention was to save the wife from being beaten? No, there's still some responsibility there. What the extent of the responsibility is, and if there are mitigating circumstances for what you did, that's a different discussion. It doesn't mean you're not responsible for your actions. Okay, so when I said that you're obviously responsible for your actions, and you kind of smirked a bit, right? Yes, you are responsible, but sometimes, and that's how it's being done in the law, you have these mitigating circumstances, right? So, for example, in your case, if you see this guy running past you with a child under his arm, kidnapping the child, and you're tackling the guy, and the guy hits his head, right? You save the child, but the guy dies. Yes, you are responsible for the guy dying. There are mitigating circumstances. It doesn't mean you're going to get away scot-free necessarily, right? It doesn't mean you didn't do anything bad, because maybe you could have tackled him in a different way. Maybe you could have done other things, right? That just follow him and stuff like that, right? There's a lot of other things you could have done in order to prevent the death of another person.
Okay, so, but that being said, so you agree that Daniel Penny should have never been facing the manslaughter charges that he was facing?
I mean, again, I don't know exactly what manslaughter means, like in English. I'm more like familiar with the terms that we have in Romania when it comes to these type of things.
So it's just accidental death.
So
like,
it's a culpability
so, hold
thing.
it real quick. It looks like Bonji doesn't have his hand up, but he is caps locking the chat. So
yapping.
I don't know. Bonji, do you want to come up? Because honestly, I have nothing to say on this. I have zero, just no.
That's all. That's all the permission I needed. So I got to say so, Amanda. I got you say so.
Yeah, you're good to go. Go for it.
All right, cool. Sorry if I sound fucked up. I'm on my phone right now. I just joined because I was just curious what y'all was talking about, and I heard Daniel Penny, and I stayed. Daniel, I'm so sorry. Dude, you kept up with absolute fuck all with the trial. I kept up with everything in regards to the trial. First off, the only two things that he was charged with, it was not murder. Murder wasn't even brought up in a scenario. It was only manslaughter, and it was only criminally negligent homicide. The outcome of that trial, first and foremost, was that they reached deadlock on the manslaughter charge. They tried to renegotiate the jury in order to find him guilty in manslaughter unanimously, but the judge dropped the charge. So they tried to push him for the criminally negligent homicide, in which they found him not guilty of, hence why he's free. Now, let's make this abundantly clear. if we're
Okay,
talking
Bungie,
about,
I will stop you here because
Yeah.
in my conversation with Moff, we didn't even go through the details because that wasn't the point. First and foremost, and what we were litigating right now were just some hypotheticals about responsibility and culpability when it comes to people committing a crime. So I
My
don't really
only-
care
my only
that much
contention with
about the details of the Daniel Penny trial. To be very frank with you,
I care because
what
you
I was and the
specifically
argument that I
argued
was,
against whether or not he was guilty.
I don't think you were here from the beginning.
I wasn't.
First of all,
You're right. I
yes.
wasn't.
So
But I'm
the
specific-
reason
but I'm-
I brought up Daniel Penny, Ponji, I
I'm
will tell you because
specifically
you need to
addressing the
understand
fact-
why.
I'm
Do you want me to-
specifically I'm specifically addressing the fact that you believe that Daniel Penny should have been found guilty. That's the point that I'm addressing right now.
No,
need
I
to
didn't
be
even
clear.
say that. I said
Yeah,
I didn't
because
even
there's
say
a-
that he was supposed to be found guilty. What I said is like, I can make my own assessment based on a lot of other factors. It doesn't have to be the factors that you're taking into consideration. If I want to call somebody a murderer or a killer, for example, I can do that. It's not a problem. You can disagree with me, but that's your own opinion. On my opinion, it's like nobody
Okay, but
cares.
You didn't demonstrate how
Okay.
he was a killer.
Sorry.
You never demonstrated how you thought he was a killer.
No, I don't
You
need
just
to
said he
because
was
it's just
a
my opinion. It's like I don't need to demonstrate to you my opinion. I'm just letting you know what my opinion is. You can disagree with it, right? And if I want to have a discussion on it, I will have a discussion on it. But I really don't want to have a discussion on it because I don't care that much about what other people's opinion on this is. The reason I brought up Daniel Penny, and that's why it was important, was because in the right-wing media, when it comes to the Daniel Penny and forget his Jordan Neely case, right? What the right-wing media is doing is they're portraying Daniel Penny as being the victim, not Jordan Neely, the guy that actually died. Whereas in the CEO case,
Because-
right, they're rightfully portraying the CEO as being the victim because he actually died, right? So that's what I was doing.
which
That's
they-
why I brought up Daniel Penny to point out the hypocrisy in right-wing media. Do you disagree with that?
Outcome of the situation.
I'm pretty sure I got Daniel to at least admit that like there's a way to acquit Daniel Penny. He wasn't saying he's a murderer
Probably.
per se. Yeah. Like that I feel like that was already established. We more so just carried on to like reasonable responsibility.
I gotta read up
more.
more on
Yeah.
this. I have not read on this at all. This is the first time I've even heard about it.
Yeah, initially it was like, and rightfully so, in my opinion, that it was like one of those tragic things where it was like, okay, black kid on a bus, videos of him doing like Michael Jackson impersonations. He seemed like he was a member of the community, but what wasn't exactly told to a lot of people was that like Jordan Neely went through probably, I'd say, like a breakdown because he is a diagnosed schizophrenic. Paranoid
He had a
schizophrenic.
manic episode, basically.
Yes,
I mean,
yeah.
as far as
And he
I
was
know, that
having
was like a
those-
classic case. Yeah.
Yeah, he was
Right, but
having
in
those
that-
more
in
and
that
more
moment,
often. And he was- Sorry, and he. It is important to point out that I think the people who should be responsible for this, I don't think it's Daniel Penny. I don't think that it's media. I don't think it's anybody. I think that it's the healthcare system. I think that it's the prison system. That there's no like place for these people to go. These homeless people that do have like just an extensive like criminal record. These people who are
Man.
not good fits for
If you
society right
think
now.
it's the healthcare system, I have some news for you. There was like another case recently about a healthcare guy.
All right.
Okay.
I want to
alright.
I want to chime in on what I think about that, right? Because I
Okay.
think I bring an approach that I think a lot of people don't think about. Okay, there's a lot of people obviously celebrating the CEO situation, and I understand the hatred. I get it. This guy is not a good person, right? It's very easy to say that, and it is fair to say that it is the direct decisions of this person that has resulted in millions of people not receiving a very necessary health care, driving people into bankruptcy and potentially killing people. Right? He's done so in the course of thousands of lives, minimum. With that being said, we are in the United States about to enter into Trump's America. And I do not want to see what the Pandora's box of vigilante justice looks like under Trump's America. Right? I think
yeah.
I think I don't want to open that box. We live in a civilized society, and the way that civilized society moves forward is this person needs to go to jail. Right?
Yeah.
And that's where I'm at with it. The guy, obviously the healthcare CEO, he is taking advantage of people and causing much more, arguably much more harm than the guy who killed them. But I don't want to see that I don't want to see that Pandora's box opened. I'm sorry, I don't.
But what if the toxicology report in the CEO case turns out that he just had like an asthma attack just at the time he was being shot by Luigi?
Shut up.
Okay?
Shut
And
up.
He just died because of that. It's like, would you think Luigi is innocent or guilty?
To be fair, hey, I know what you're saying, Danny, but I need to touch back on the toxicology thing. That was a theory put forth by the toxicology reportist to expert to say that Daniel Penny was responsible for his death.
Yeah, no, I was just joking.
Okay.
But again, it's like I'm obviously expecting the state to not give a fuck about a homeless guy, so the work they're doing is just pure shit. Okay.
I mean,
Whereas in the case of the CEO, they're putting all the resources up there in order to find the killer.
Well, it didn't take very long, and also Daniel Penny admitted himself.
Do you think my position regarding the killer here, or specifically regarding the guy who killed the United Healthcare CEO, am I wrong in making that argument? I don't think I am.
I agree.
No, it's like I agree with the fact that vigilante justice is.
We can't have it. We
not
can't.
good.
It's literally going to result in the destruction of the United States if we open this box. It's not worth it.
Now, I think
you're right. I think vigilante justice is not good in general, right? Like as a starting point.
Yeah,
we have to start with that assumption.
I think there's a level, though. I'm going to be the devil's advocate here. I think that there's a level of vigilante, I guess, justice. But when you put that word out there, people probably assume like, oh, Batman style. Like you're going to go and like beat the fuck out of people because they like jaywalked or something. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that I feel like as a society, and if you care about the society you're living in, I feel like you have somewhat of a responsibility to at least like for example, like you go outside and you see like trash on the floor. It's like you didn't litter, but a common person would probably pick that up and throw it away. And if they saw the person that threw it on the ground, they'd probably say like, hey, like pick up your trash.
Are you kidding? We're in the freaking US. That never happens.
I do it.
Do you? That's really nice. I do it too. But I'm letting you know right now, nobody does that. Nobody does that. Nobody does. I will pick up a piece of trash and put it in my pocket. And go to the trash can to like throw it away. But I have noticed almost nobody does
real?
that. Yeah,
this is not something you do?
No.
So one of the big things we had in Romania for like a pretty big time was exactly this, that people were never doing this type of things, right? And we actually had like this almost like public conversation in the sense that, your trash is your responsibility, right? And it's like, if you don't have like a trash can next to you, cool, you take it home. Don't just fucking throw it on the street.
Yeah. Well, littering is
actually
a
works.
law. Yeah, it's a crime to throw trash on the floor.
I mean, it is, but let's be honest. Nobody was like, prosecuted for throwing something on the street, right? It's like the police is not going to arrest you for that. Okay, like ever.
Yeah, they're gonna.
It's more
they can
hassle
write you
for
a
them to
ticket,
do
and
the
they can be like,
paperwork.
yo, like, don't fucking do that. Like, stop fucking littering. And if it's a repeated problem, then they're not gonna arrest you. Of course, they'll fine you.
Anyway, in case if you guys have anything else between you and Daniel, if you want to discuss it, if not, we can move on to the next person who wants to speak.
Well, I was making a point just real quick, and then I'll disappear. So, vigilante justice. Again, labeling it as vigilante justice makes it sound like Batman. I already said that. I think that as a society, there is a reasonable expectation of your neighbors to like stop things that are obviously like bad. Like say your buddy's having like a mental health situation and he doesn't want cops involved, and if cops are involved he might kill himself, but you're his friend and he wants to talk to you. It's like in a roundabout way you could argue that like you're taking the law into your own hands, even though there's government workers who are, you know, professionals in this department, but you're taking it into your own hands to help a friend. Or say my example that I brought
That's
up
not
earlier,
really
like
a
well,
situation
to a
of
degree,
law, though, right? Like if
to a
somebody's
degree
going
it
to
is,
harm
because
themselves.
but if that person harms themselves and an argument could be made that you had something to do with encouraging them, then you would be found liable in a roundabout way. If an argument could be made, I'm just saying, I'm talking in theoretics. And an example that I brought up earlier, like if you were in a mall and you saw some kid getting abducted and you tried to stop that person, and then that person tried to file charges against you and they fell down in court because it's like, well, you're in the act of a felon, you're trying to kidnap a child. I believe that's right. I think that you stopping that person is a just thing. Of course, there's levels of this.
Context
I don't
matters,
think,
though, in like justice.
yes, context
right?
does matters.
That's beyond that's beyond the point. The point is that we don't want to live in a society. We have checks and balances. We have a justice system, and if we adhere, like put the justice systems in our hands, then effectively what that is a vigilante justice, and we are about to enter into Trump's America, where, I mean, take for example, like what happens when like a Planned Parenthood CEO gets murdered, right? Do we celebrate that? Like, well,
No.
to a right winger, they might actually celebrate that, right? They may be cheering just like that they see like right now regarding the healthcare CEO, right? And it's like
I'm not
I
even
just
celebrating
don't.
the CEO either.
Yeah,
I think it's wrong.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's I guess what I'm trying to argue. So
I'm just
that's
saying,
all I have to say about that.
To say in general, I feel like is a little loaded, but of course, killing of people that you deem are like a threat to society, just like, especially in like a fucking Batman fucking sneaking up on people, is obviously not fucking good. And if somebody killed a Planned Parenthood fucking CEO, regardless of your religious beliefs or whatever your moral beliefs, it's wrong. And everyone should be on board that that's fucking fucked up and wrong. The same way, if you murder the CEO of Raytheon or fucking Vanguard or fucking the CEO of that healthcare company, it's wrong. You're murdering somebody who was obeying the law inside the confines of the systems that be. Like,
I hope that doesn't happen.
Shut up, socialist.
What do you mean it doesn't happen?
He's being sarcastic.
Like
he wants to watch the whole system burn down. Don't you, Daniel?
Yeah.
No, I don't. Dude, I want people to be happy. I want everybody to have healthcare. I want, people to have a place to live. I want people to be treated with dignity and respect.
For sure, you're not like a space Apache.
No,
He
not
just
at all.
wants everything to burn to the ground. Yeah.
All right.
We're
We're gonna move on because we have the dog who has been waiting a very long time.
I appreciate your time.
Yeah, no problem.
Very patiently, I would say.
All right. Sorry, just give me a second. Writing some notes. Apologies.
Yo, what's going on, guys?
Give me a
Glad
sec.
to be here.
Give me a sec.
All right,
Give me a sec.
got you.
The dog.
What's
You're
up?
being invited to speak. How are you doing today?
Pretty good. Glad to be here. How's it going for you?
Good. What do you want to talk about?
Oh, well, first of all, just want to say I really enjoyed the topic that we were, discussing with the United Healthcare CEO. Interesting topics, but I want to talk about BLM and
Black Lives
George
Matter?
Floyd and kind of that whole time. I think it was such an insane time back in 2020. Looking back from how the left in particular fucking virtue signaled how the fucking death of George Floyd was wrong. When George Floyd was a fucking criminal and BLM are also criminals. So I want to see if you guys have any opposition on that.
I don't think that BLM is a criminal organization.
But they have multi-million-dollar mansions in Hollywood. Why is that?
I thought we were talking about if they're criminals. Having a multi-million dollar mansion doesn't make you a criminal.
Where did they get the money from?
Donations.
Yeah, it wasn't for the mansion though, was it? That's pretty criminal if you ask me.
No, they ended up using it as a museum.
Nah, they fucking live in those fucking houses.
No, they used it as a museum.
That is true, yeah. The BLM founders have been found guilty of charity abuse. So that is by definition criminal.
Okay, so I don't believe it's a criminal organization, though.
Are we for or against BLM? That's my question.
I'm in favor of BLM.
Really? Why
Yes.
is that? They're a cult.
Because I believe that there are instances where black people are pushed off to the side in society and stratified, and we ought to recognize that Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, but like Black Lives Matter, so only Black Lives Matter, no other lives matter, right?
No, white lives matter too, but they've always mattered, right? We've
So
not had an
why
issue
do
with
they
white
have to
lives
be Black
not
lives
getting
matter?
their due representation.
This is
They've
the thing
been
with Black-
largely represented. And so, but the problem is that black lives have not necessarily been represented in the past. In fact, have been stratified in society for a long time. And so that's why you have the slogan Black Lives Matter, because black lives indeed do matter.
Yeah, well, the problem with black people is they've got a fucking victim mentality, don't they? And they always think that they have it worse than everyone else, when in reality,
Well, they did.
they're the people who steal the most and do the most crime. So it kind
Do
of
you think
works
that might have
out
anything
that
to do with
Black Lives
socioeconomic
Matter
outcomes?
don't really matter that
Do you
much.
think
do
that
they?
might have
'Cause they
anything to
cause
do with
the fucking
socioeconomic
crime.
outcomes?
Oh yeah, look at how the fucking riots ended up. That's a fucking product of black people. Black people just want to fucking
I'm not
riot,
in favor
don't
of
they?
riots. I never
Yeah,
said I
well,
was
you're
in favor of
fucking in
riots.
favor of
I wasn't in
BLM, aren't
favor
you?
of the BLM riots either. I wasn't in
Oh,
favor
but
of
you
those.
are in favor of BLM, aren't you? That's right.
What? Yeah, I'm in favor of BLM. I'm not in favor
Are
of
you
the
in
BLM
favor of George
riots.
Floyd as well?
Huh?
George Floyd was a fucking criminal.
Yes.
He deserved to die.
Are you crazy?
No, I'm not crazy.
Do you actually believe that?
He was a fucking criminal. He
So,
wasn't
okay,
a good
I just want to
guy.
be clear,
He
right?
shouldn't be
Druggies,
celebrated.
people who take drugs,
Tomorrow,
right?
fucking
Street drugs,
George Floyd.
they deserve
Why
to
the
die.
fuck- Okay, so why the fuck is George Floyd the face of BLM? What
I
a
need you to
fucking
I need you to answer my question. Do you believe that people that take drugs should be forced to die? It's okay that they're
He
killed.
didn't die because of fucking police brutality.
All right,
He
I'm going to
died
ask you the
because of
question
an
again
overdose.
because you're not answering my question. It's a very simple question. Should people who take drugs be forced to die?
So he
Should they be
only ever
killed
did
by the
drugs?
law?
Is that all he did? Is that all he did?
That is not what that is
Convicted
not
of
my
hate
question.
crime?
I'm asking you to answer my question. Should people who take drugs be forced to die?
I think when you've had repetitive paper trails of crimes, then
Should
you are
people
not
who
first
take
class-
drugs be forced to die?
Well, I mean, look, he deserved to die because he overdosed.
Should people who take drugs be forced to die? Answer the freaking question.
If that's the life that they choose, then
What is
yes.
wrong with you?
I've just fucking answered your question.
No, you didn't. It's either a yes or a no, and then you can give me your caveat. So here, okay, let's try again, right?
Yes.
Okay, so they should be forced to die. Have you ever taken any
Listen,
drugs?
Listen, the way that you're
Have you
trying to
ever taken
respond to
any
my
drugs?
question- Listen,
Have
this
you ever
isn't gonna
taken
work
any
on me,
drugs?
pal.
Yes or no?
This isn't gonna work on me, pal.
Have you
This
ever
isn't how
taken
you
any drugs?
behave.
Yes or no?
No, I haven't.
Have you ever taken it? You have not taken. Do you have any friends that have taken drugs?
No.
Wait, you never
Really?
drank?
You have no friends you've taken drugs
What does
before?
this have to do with?
Do you have
drugs
no friends?
Listen, buddy. This isn't solely about drugs. It's about who you are as a person.
But the guy was an addict,
Don't-
right? And
don't
he was on
focus solely
fentanyl,
on
right? But
drugs.
there's no question that it was in fact Derek Chauvin's knee that was on his neck for over 10 minutes. His own staff were telling him, "Why do you still have the knee on him? The entire purpose of that knee is for restraint." Right.
Okay,
However,
well,
he was
Derek
shut up.
was
He was already handcuffed. He was already handcuffed. He was already I'm not going to let you steamroll this discussion. He was already handcuffed and he was on the floor. He was already restrained. Why do you have your knee on his neck for over 10 minutes? He was already completely unresponsive for several minutes before, and even other people saying, "Hey, why is your knee still on his neck?" And they kept it on his neck. It was to the point that it was unreasonable to assume that he would still be alive after that long of a period of time with a knee on his neck, right? That's the problem. That's why Derek Chauvin is in jail right now. Okay.
So you're saying that Derek killed him?
Yes.
Wrong.
Did you watch
you
the
look
trial?
at the
I
report?
watched the trial.
Did you look at the report.
All right, let me ask you this.
Let me ask you this.
If you
Why
have
are
your
you
knee
saying
on
I'm the
someone's
one that
neck,
steamrolled and you're the one that muted me because you
I
can't
didn't mute
handle
you at all, bro. I'm playing a freaking
No,
game,
buddy.
bro.
I was
That
I
was
was the
Daniel.
one muting you because you were over
You
talking.
fucking muted my mic, you idiot.
I need you to actually address the argument, right? You're not addressing me at
just
all.
a second. Like, dog, I was the one muting you because you need to have a conversation. If you're just gonna come and spaz out and not actually have a conversation, not gonna be super productive for anybody.
All right, well, all I'll say is White Lives Matter. Fuck niggers. Fuck George Floyd.
All right.
Fuck BLM.
Can you remove them, please?
Yeah.
Thank you. I
Well,
appreciate
you're
it.
another one. Okay. Let's see when he came in.
What is with people using the N bombs here? Like, bro,
I don't know. They're just very nice people, all of them. But it's fine, dude. It's not a problem. I can make a lot of warnings.
yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna tell you right now, like, don't show up on the stream to spew N bombs, and like, I'll platform you and hear out your argument, but I expect you to be like somewhat cordial. I mean, we could have a disagreement, we could even yell at each other, but bro, like that. Obviously, you're not really interested in any. You're just like being a terrible person. Like, you literally just got done
That's
saying
the
that
extent of the right
people
wingers.
people who apparently take drugs, right? That they deserve to die by the hands of the government. Like, you're actually crazy. Like, you're a crazy person, and we shouldn't take you seriously. In fact, we should make a mud pit.
The mud pit, yes. Also, it's like he was so dishonest because he's like, I'm pretty fucking sure he drank in his life. And you know what alcohol is?
Yeah, it's
Mender? I don't know if you know that.
a
It's
drug?
a drug.
Are you saying
God
it's a
damn it.
drug?
Crazy. If you get tipsy, you get drug. It's like you lose
Gotcha.
control over certain bodily functions.
No
you know,
way, stop.
Over certain
What?
cognitive functions.
Stop it.
Yeah, that's crazy. Maybe
What?
somebody should kill
No way.
people when they drink. I don't think anybody would be crazy enough to say that. And you know what, Amanda? I'm going to do another thing. A lot of people become addicted to drinking, right? Because like any other drug out there, it creates addiction.
Bro, I'm
right?
already
It has
there,
the
bro.
possibility of creating addiction.
I love drinking. Am I addicted to drinking?
I don't know.
Yes. I'm just gonna say yes. Yes. Yes, I like drinking. It's fun. I have a lot of fun.
Well, there's a difference between I like
tomorrow
drinking
I'm
and
going to
being
drink a
addicted.
lot. And it's gonna be great. It's gonna be a really fun time. I'm gonna be with my
I used
friends.
to be addicted.
And we're gonna drink like crazy.
By the way,
All right, hold on. So Andreas,
I
he
was
just
addicted
said
to
that he
nicotine.
would like to join. Unfortunately, I'm going to give you. You'll have to come back next week, and the reason why is because you came on here and you busted out N bombs, right? I don't take kindly to that. I would recommend work on your. I don't even want to say rhetoric, but rather just be more polite, I suppose, right? We don't need to use crude language when having discussions with one another, right? And I don't like referring to black people in that way. Okay, so yeah, unfortunately, we will not be re-inviting you for this week.
yeah, I think that's a given, right?
Yep. It says here, why are you guys LARPing as intellectuals? You guys are so politically correct that it's embarrassing. No, I mean, it's just a level of politeness. Like we don't call black people the N-word. Like, come on, right? It's not even like a matter of like censorship. It's just like, bro, like you're just like being a dick. Like,
And a racist at the same time. Let's not beat around the bush.
a racist.
Yeah, you should
dick.
work on your racism, buddy.
The racist.
Yeah. Work on your racism in the sense of reducing it to zero.
In other news, I don't know where I am going in Metroid.
Dude, nobody knows.
I don't know where to go. I'm trying to figure it out.
I mean, you have a map. It's like you can look at the map.
Oh yeah. Let me get yeah.
I mean,
It's
you have
just
the blue area
you have a
around,
map. No
above.
problem.
Yeah, I know. It's not like a very good map to help you navigate all things, but still better than nothing.
Bro. Like
I'm assuming you have to go to the blue side, right?
yes. Yeah, of course. Like here, look.
Yeah,
You see
so-
my map here? Amanda
Yeah.
says, I want to drink with a mender. That sounds amazing. I would love to drink with you. You sound like a really cool person to talk to. Way Too Young says, if you aren't racist against black people, you are inherently dumb. So the issue that I have with your argument is very simple. The problem is that I believe that minorities have largely been stratified in societies, both in terms of their countries as well as in terms of their opportunities that they've had in the past. And because of that, their results in lower educational outcomes, which is the problem that you're exhibiting, right? You're saying that if people are committing more crimes, well, then you have to ask yourself, okay, well, what's causing that, right? And I would say it's likely the societal ills of the past, right? But that, to me, that seems pretty obvious, right? Because take, for example, they have taken black twins, right, from Africa, right, who are supposed to have, right, IQ, say 70 something, right, like very low IQ, and their IQs rise substantially by several deviations by just simply being born to a wealthier family, right? What causes that, right? Do you think it could be potentially the opportunities that you have, right? And like, why would I say that wouldn't lead in terms of socioeconomic outcomes? Like, obviously, if somebody is poor, wouldn't that lead to there being more theft? You could observe that among white people, for example, right? And let's say, for example, that we even assume that there's something inherently violent about minorities. Fine. So you make that argument. Here's the problem with your argument. That is also true for men, right? So if you want to argue your segregationist society, then I could easily flip that argument against you and say, you're right, we should segregate all men, right? And actually, you actually can have a society where you just don't have any men allowed, right? The only instance is that we just harvest you for sperm, and that's pretty much it. Like, you'll never see a woman in your life. You just have to fight in the mud pits, right? I could easily extrapolate your argument into that, and you actually have no rebuttal. You have zero rebuttal. It is just as logical as your argument, right? The only reason why you are excluding other people is because you are not that person, right? But as soon as I include your demographic, all for whatever reason, oh, now all of a sudden it's a problem. You don't like the idea of discrimination. Huh. So I call these racist low-life degenerates a bunch of hypocrites. What do you think, Daniel?
Well, they're all like very new to the server also. So
you think they're here to
they're
raid?
probably just yeah, for sure. Like Way Too Young just joined today, and Andreas, the other guy, joined yesterday. So yeah, they're just here to to spread some racism.
Yeah.
In other places, not just their personal spaces.
Go back to the hole you were in.
Yeah, go back to the mud pit.
Go to the mud pit. You deserve the mud pit. Mud pit argument is one of my favorite arguments, man. I love that argument. You could use it on any race realist. They have no answer. Oh my god, this freaking game! I'm just losing.
No, I didn't call you a troll. Way Too Young. I just called you a racist. And in my book, being a racist is way worse than being a troll.
I agree. I'm with you there. What would you say? What's the worst kind of racist in your mind?
Any kind of racist.
I'm trying to think. Like, is there
Man,
like
you know what the thing
categories
is?
of racists where it's like,
I don't know. They're all like the same. They're cut from the same cloth. And these are the moments where I'm kind of sad that I'm an atheist, because I wish I would believe in reincarnation, because I really
Oh,
wish they
yeah,
would
yeah.
be reincarnated in like a minority,
as a
right?
minority? What about
As a
like,
minority, but also I wish they also knew their previous lives.
do you
right?
remember?
So
Do you remember there was this guy they were known for being the most racist, the most avowed racist in the United States for a long time, right? This guy, he was all around in the 90s, right? He was even into the 2000s. They would put him on talk shows, right? Just to hear like the ridiculous racist, right? And
who's that guy?
I'm trying to remember his name. Let me see if I can. God, this is why I say ChatGPT.
Was it
guys.
like?
Hold on.
Did it
hold on.
did it rhyme with from?
No. Hold on.
No.
Hold on. Give me a sec. Give me a second. This is why ChatGPT is really good. Yes. Okay. So there was a guy named Craig Cobb, right? And you can look this up on the Trisha Goddard show, and it was in 2013, where they basically had this guy, right? And this guy has identified himself as the most famous racist in the United States, right, at the time. And he shows up and had done an ancestry test, right? And he was like, I'm 100% white American. And there he was showing up on TV, and they found out that he was 14% sub-Saharan African.
Well, I mean, because these people don't understand that, there's no. That's why when we say it's like races are not a thing in biology,
God.
there are no races a thing in biology, right? Because we all the same race. It's like it's the same species.
Yeah.
It only has one race,
Yeah.
and that's it.
Yeah, the intentional separation is like a huge concern, right? Where it's like, it's just really just people trying to be hateful to other people, right? Like they just want to separate others. And it's like, really, we've done, the Human Genome Project and have found that each human are surprisingly similar to one another, because apparently we had gotten to frighteningly low levels of population in the past, which resulted in there being a stunning lack of genetic biodiversity. Right?
Yeah,
Isn't that interesting?
there was a point in time where we were like below 10,000.
That is crazy.
Specimens.
Mind you,
So
just
like
so you know,
10,000
if you're
it's a very low
below
number.
1,000 in a species, I heard, right, and you can correct me if I'm wrong because you're a
kind
chemist.
of done.
If you're below 1,000, the species is already extinct because there's not enough genetic biodiversity to actually maintain the species, which is wild to me. I didn't even know that was a thing.
We were literally on the brink of destruction as a species. We were so close, like extremely close, and that's why right now we're not at that level of not having enough diversity. And by the way, if you want to talk about genetic diversity in Homo sapiens, you know what population and in what place on the map has the most genetic diversity by far?
Mm-hmm. What?
It's black people, sub-Saharan Africa.
Stop.
So the black people in sub-Saharan Africa have way more genetic diversity between them, right?
Between each of the
Then
sub-Saharan
all
Africans.
That's
interesting.
Exactly. Between them, then all the people in the rest of the world.
This
So
is
you're
kind of like where I get into arguments
You're
with like
closer genetically. Yeah, you're closer genetically to somebody, let's say from Mongolia,
Mhm.
right? You never been
Then
there.
to Sub-Saharan
You don't
Africa?
know anybody from there. Then two people from Sub-Saharan Africa that are apart for like 200 kilometers.
That's bizarre. Now that's weird. That's weird. What just happened? Did my member stage just like die? What the hell happened? I'm going to see check logs. I mean, it's pretty close to ending. All right, that was really weird, guys. But it appears that my stage had just suddenly ended. What in the hell happened? Hold on. Let me just start the stage. Screw it. I'm just going to start it. What the hell happened? What in the
I
world
have
was
no
that?
idea. I have no idea.
Can you have somebody
How-
review the logs on that? Because that's weird. That shouldn't have happened.
Oh. Yeah, I'm gonna write to Hannah.
Someone just like randomly ended the stage there. You think someone's trying to mess with me, you think?
No, maybe somebody was here and like
But how
a
do you just
mod
end
or...
the stage like that? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I mean, you can like if you're not careful, you can actually do it. But yeah,
Dude, I was playing my game. Like, there's no way I could have done it.
yeah, I was talking. I was playing a game too. So
Yeah.
it's like.
So, anyway, what do you think? Do you think that I should do the vote? On the
you know
debate?
what? You know what
I feel
think?
like I needed to just decide it. Like, so.
Yeah, I think it's better that way.
Let me see. So, I saw that there were 2 abortion debates. And so I think what I want to do is just smush these together. What do you think?
That wouldn't be a bad thing, yeah. Because there one of the abortion debates was with somebody that actually was pro-abortion, and the other one with somebody that was against abortion.
Yes.
So yeah, not a bad
Okay.
idea.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna. You know what's I'm starting to notice happen is that people just like to use the N-word on my stream.
No, I think it's just like these new people.
Did you hand out?
coming
Did you
in.
hand out? You handed out warrants, right?
Oh yeah. No,
Okay.
one of them is in a 1-hour server mute because
Okay.
of it.
Gotcha.
He
gotcha.
wouldn't stop. He wouldn't stop doing it. So I had to log in a lot of evidence from what he was saying. Too.
That's annoying.
Yeah, well, it is what it is. What can we do?
Anyway, this was a pretty good stream for the most part. I'm glad. I love doing these. I really do. We do them on Thursdays, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you are not currently subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do. I'm very, very small, so any amount of support that I get is huge. Right? The subscribe button is, it's free. Doesn't cost you anything. I've had people donate, which is really, really cool. I mean, I don't even expect that at all. I don't make any money on this. Very little, if at all.
Also, can I say something?
What?
All the people that are here listening on Discord, come on, guys! While you're listening, open Amender stream on YouTube, mute him, and just have it there in the background. Not gonna cost you anything. Helps him.
It does help. It does help.
Be nice. That's how I always do.
Yeah, I
I'm
appreciate
here.
you.
I'm also having the stream running. Come on, guys. Be nice. Even if you don't like him, especially if you don't like him.
There are so many people that do not like me. Like a lot.
Yeah, but it's fine.
Like a substantial number. Which is
I mean, I don't think they don't like you as a person. You know, maybe they don't agree with some of your arguments and stances, but that's fine. We don't have to all be the same.
Yep.
That would be fucking boring.
That would be boring.
I mean, except if everybody was like me, that wouldn't be boring at all.
I have to save my game. Let me see. Where is a good save spot? I made no progress in this game. I was exploring around and literally found nothing.
Dude, so I wanted to play it, and then I had to. I realized I have to get like a Super Nintendo emulator,
Yeah.
and then I had to actually. I hate playing on something else other than keyboard and mouse.
What?
Okay. Yes.
Why?
And I started the game. I don't know, man. I'm just like
Bro, controllers are where
controllers
it's at.
are a lot. Nah. It's like keyboard and mouse for me.
Well,
man.
for
I'm
certain
telling you.
games, controller and mouse is the move.
Oh no, it's like trust me. It's like I play platformers with keyboard and mouse. And if
You're
it
out of your
doesn't
mind.
feel
You're out of your mind.
good-
You need a controller.
Man, I'm telling you.
Do you want to see my
So,
controller? Have you seen
You,
it?
you know Blasphemous? Have
Have-
you ever played Blasphemous?
Have you seen my controller?
No. Is it a nice one? Okay, you have to show it on stream.
Hold
I'm
on.
watching you right now.
Hold on. I gotta switch my camera. I think it's the.
Oh no, because I'm looking on
virtual
YouTube. You
camera?
can just show it.
Oh, okay.
It'll take like 5 seconds for me.
Yeah,
to see
yeah. It takes a little bit, but there's my controller. It is my OG, the controller that I grew up with as a kid, an OG Super Nintendo controller. You'll notice it
Oh
has
my
the
God.
number 1. And the reason why I put
Yeah.
the number 1 on it is because it was
That was
player
player
1. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I wasn't the smartest kid. Let's just let's just be honest.
Dude, come on. It's like we all did that. We all did that.
Put the number 1 on it?
Yeah, like well, more than that. It's like, what do you mean? I used to do so many things with my
Yeah.
my stuff.
Look, what is that
Yeah, like
mark
some of
there?
the stuff-
I don't even know what that is. That mark.
I'm-
You see that? It's like
Yeah,
a
who
little.
knows? It's like only the younger you knows.
Yeah.
You don't know
Anyway.
anymore.
Well, we have reached the end of our stream. I've changed the way that I've been doing my edits. Lately, I've been just re-watching what I say and then just editing out kind of like irrelevant parts where it just kind of tangents off. It makes it flow better. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, usually people. I mean, everybody has like a different way of consuming like
Mhm.
media. Like for example, I like long format stuff
Mm.
because the way that I listen to these things is while I'm doing other stuff, right? So when
Gotcha,
I'm
yeah.
cooking, for example, I'm just listening to like a podcast, like whatever. And if they're short, I have to constantly go and get another one. So I like long format, right?
Mhm.
But other people, it's the TikTok generation basically. you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, for sure.
Very, very, very short attention spans.
I agree.
need to
Anyway,
do some more for that.
we're gonna close it off right now. But I appreciate y'all for joining us and sticking to all the way to the very end. And you guys can expect a video to come out either tomorrow or Saturday, depending on how my editing goes. But yeah, I really appreciate y'all very much, and have yourself a wonderful evening. All right, how do I end that stage? Right click, end stage. And thank you all very much for joining. I really appreciate it. Sticking around, and you'll see the video. It'll come out shortly. I got to get more shorts out. I've been slacking on the shorts. So I gotta really focus on some shorts. Anyway, thank y'all very much. Y'all have a